A big-time lib suggested something that I think he thought sounded super great, and I actually also kind of agree. What the heck is going on in Chicago? There's the whole National Guard, there's the immigration stuff. Is Trump pulling a 3D move? And the the VMAs, not the WNBA. Nobody watches either one of those, but the VMAs happened last night, and we'll talk about something that I think is really interesting regarding programming, ratings, and what the left is doubling down on. All that and more coming up on this episode of Turning Point tonight. My name is Joe Bob. Thanks so much for tuning in. Together, we are charting the course of America's cultural comeback. This is Turning Point tonight. And before we get started, I got to remind you, you can email the show anytime you want, tpt@tpusa.com. We love seeing your emails, whether you think everything we say is just the hard, cold truth or you're wrong. Doesn't matter. We love your emails, tpt@tpusa.com. Before we get to those stories in our fantastic panel, we've got a fantastic panel lined up today. We've got to talk about this circular money funding thing going on specifically in California. Now, none of this is new. We've seen this a number of times before, but let me set this up. Now, if you don't know, California's production center, production capital of the Hollywood world is going away. People are able to, on a lower budget with newer equipment that is more nimble and able to travel, they're able to go film elsewhere. And considering California's incredibly difficult to work with laws around employees and productions and unions, nobody is filming anything in California. So because of that, Governor Newsom and the Californians said, hey, we need to incentivize people to stay in this state. They started off with a $330 million tax credit program. That has since ballooned up to $750 million. Okay, well, where is that money going? Well, just this year, Governor Newsom gave a $70 million tax credit to Netflix, of all people. Also, totally, completely unrelated, not at all. It's just a total coincidence. Reed Hastings, the CEO, gave $3 million to Gavin Newsom's defense of his recall in 2021, and also put another $2 million into the redistricting effort from Gavin Newsom that's happening right now. Again, just total coincidence. There's no correlation at all with the fact that they got $70 million in tax credits. But at the end of the day, the one thing remains: why does nobody want to film in the state of California? And two, why are they getting all that money? Because I hope I didn't bury the lead here. In 2023 and 2024, only 4% of all of Netflix productions were filmed primarily in California, which, again, if you're getting $70 million in tax credits, you'd think that number would be just a little bit higher. Here to comment on that and so much more is Brylan Hollyhan, political commentator and host of the Nightly Scroll, Haley Karanina. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Haley, I mean, there's lots of different levels of this. One, why does California need to cough up $750 million to get people to stay? And two, again, kind of, if it walks like corruption, talks like corruption, feels like a circular money exchange between Gavin and his friends.
Yeah, this is exactly what it is. And it does not pay to do business in California. It doesn't pay. You get hit with all of these taxes, even with the tax credits and all the things that Gavin Newsom is trying to do. He's throwing lipstick on a pig to try to make it look better. Everything that Gavin Newsom is trying to do right now, make no mistake, it is because he is running for the president in 2028, and he is trying to clean up all of the messes that he's made during his time as governor, because he's only got a short amount of time to clean it all up before he's out of there. And he's definitely trying to make sure that people, look here, not over there. That's what he's trying to do.
Brylan, one of my favorite things that Governor Newsom has been doing for the last couple years is looking around saying, wow, this is a disaster. We got to fix this. Well, obviously, the irony being, well, you caused the disaster. This is exactly one of those. He says, well, we've got to save these companies from leaving California. Here's $750 million in tax incentives. Okay, well, you made them leave. Do voters in California, but also around the country, do you think they're going to get hip to this, that this is a thing that he does consistently, identifies the problem, says we need to fix it without taking credit for causing the problem?
California voters are waking up, and they're fleeing to states like Texas and Florida when they wake up and smell those roses and say, whoa, wait. I think I saw a poll a few days ago, the New York Times study, that the past 5 years in a row, we've seen Governor Newsom come out front, have a press conference with the same sign, same logo that said, fix California. Well, buddy, you broke California. So what are we doing here? What's happening? I mean, only in California could you launder taxpayer money through Netflix faster than you could get a new season of the Stranger Things. I mean, we're looking at this propaganda machine right here, and we talk about propaganda machines like MSNBC and CNN, but genuinely, Netflix has become a propaganda machine for the DNC on its own because they're funding people like Barack Obama. They're funding people like Gavin Newsom. They're funding people like AOC. They're funding people like Meghan Markle to have their own shows that literally not a person watches. There's 3 people on this panel. If any of you 3 have met a single friend that watches any of those Netflix shows, let me know, but I haven't found a single one. That's the modern day left, and they're using Netflix as a propaganda machine to reach today's youth, and somebody's got to call them out for it.
I don't know about you, but I just can't wait for episode whatever of the Meghan Markle whatever show. Again, I trying to make a joke that I watch, but actually nobody does. Things that libs do is it's crazy what comes out of how they kind of twist themselves into like we are the corrupt people. They don't actually say that, but they are. But we're fighting corruption, or like this particular situation. Ezra Klein of the New York Times, Haley, I'm not sure if you saw this on Sunday in his podcast, said something that I think he thought he landed. He just stuck a big one. And in reality, I kind of read it at face value and go, hold on, I think I agree with that sort of thing. He says when the new funding bill comes up, which I think is at the end of the month, that he sees no way that Democrats can vote for it, that libs can support this agenda. So he is pushing for, at least considering, shutting the government down, which to my sense, like, isn't that what Doge is like supposed to do? Aren't we like proponents of like, yeah, like let's shut the thing down more and more and more and more? I don't know. You think he stuck the point there, or kind of ironically enforced what we're trying to do overall?
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Doge point, because that was the first thing that I thought of. These are the same people that were demonizing Doge. They said that Elon Musk was Hitler. They said that Doge was a threat to democracy. I mean, they thought cutting the government at all, even just a little bit, even just rooting out finding corruption and getting rid of the corruption, they thought that was evil. Now the Democrats are saying we should just shut down the government altogether. I mean, hey, don't threaten me with the good time. I hate the government.
Brylan, and this, because seriously, when the government, quote unquote, shuts down, right, all of the non-essential federal workers are furloughed, to which then I say, well, why do we have federal workers that are non-essential? Like, again, I understand what he's trying to say politically speaking, but just overall, if the government shuts down, doesn't that give us an opportunity to go, oh, okay, perfect. Well, that person's not needed. That department is not needed. Oh, the hell with this whole department. Isn't this an upside for us?
1,000% an upside, and it kind of reminds me of the day that Elon bought Twitter. And remember the story where he went back to Twitter's headquarters, at that point was in California, and just started unplugging things in their server room to see why there was such a large server room. And he was like, if we unplug something that crashes the site, then we'll just plug it back in. And they ended up deciding that that entire server room just wasn't needed. Well, let's start unplugging government agencies and seeing which ones we can function without. And if something happens, absolutely, we'll plug them right back in and bring it back to work. But why are there non-essential government employees to start with? If they're not essential, send them to the private sector. They don't need to be filling government jobs. They don't need to be working from home. They don't need to be collecting a taxpayer-funded paycheck to absolutely do nothing. Just their whole presence in the government system is waste, fraud, and abuse within itself.
Yeah, as a guy in private industry, the second I become non-essential is also the second I become unemployed, because that's the way the rest of the world works. Speaking of people who are entirely unemployed, apparently people are still protesting in Washington, D.C. I guess I thought that this was going to be one that libs were like, okay, we got this one wrong. I mean, to not relitigate the entire story, President Trump sends in the National Guard, says, hey, D.C. is a mess. They cleaned it up. Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C., Haley, said, yeah, crime is really far. I thought we were done with this. Turns out over the weekend, there was thousands of people still protesting. We don't like safe streets in D.C. Haley, what's going on here?
Well, we saw this with the No Kings protests, where they were kind of... they kept coming and they didn't stop coming. It was just like the thing to do for the protesters over the weekend. I mean, I don't know if these people, they don't work during the week. They're free on the weekends now. I don't know. I think they're getting paid regardless. I think if they had a paid incentive, it would make sense that they were spending their weekend protesting the same thing that they spent all week. before and the week before and the week before protesting. It's more of the same. They're not doing anything. Protesting is virtue signaling. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. I protect everyone. I support everyone's right to protest, but it is a waste of time.
Yeah, I like that Smash Mouth reference there. I'm not sure if you know that you made it, but they won't stop coming and they won't stop coming. Brylan, so, regarding the No Kings protest, the only quibble I would have with conservatives is, well, the No Kings protest worked. We don't have any kings, and apparently they were successful it's been successful the last 250 years, but No Kings worked. But to Haley's point, like, the only reason I think people are out there is they're getting paid, right? Like, is that your assessment? What do you think about this, especially people protesting against reality and using their weekend to do so?
You're exactly right. Think about it like this, though. All of those non-essential government employees that we fired from these three-letter agencies that were wasting space in the government have to go do something with their time. And of course, they're not going to get a real job. So they're going to dye their hair blue, get a nose ring, grab a bullhorn, and go shut down DC and protest because evil Donald Trump is trying to stop crime. I mean, the Democrats always take the most extreme stance on every policy. First, it was being anti-police. And when the consensus of America, majority of Democrats even said, well, you went too far, they had to bring it back a little bit centrist. And remember, they said, oh, no, we didn't pay for the Bill of Rights. We weren't anti-police. Then they were pro men and women's bathrooms. They were pro men and women's sports. President Trump led on that issue. The common sense of America went out and said, yeah, y'all went too far left. Now they're pro-crime. The modern day left's actual number one stance right now is pro-crime. What are we doing? They're a non-existent party.
I also like that too. I was watching you and they had the B-roll in there that has like a Palestine flag flying there too to protest DC policing. I don't know. But maybe, I'm the idiot for trying to make sense of people who have no sense to begin with. Haley and Brylan will be back after the break to discuss the Video Music Awards. And if you're thinking, what the heck is that? I think that's what most people are thinking. And also, is Trump's Chicago stance like a three-dimensional chess move? I kind of happen to think it is. Remember, you can email the show anytime you want, tpt@tpusa.com. Don't go away. We'll be right back after the break.
America Fest is the starting point for us to take America to greater heights in 2025. We have a team that is ready to change the world and bring America back to greatness.
Experience the greatest celebration of America. 4 days, thousands of patriots, the loudest voices, the strongest leaders. Featuring Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, Grant Cardone, Rob Schneider, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Glenn Beck, Riley Gaines, Todd Chrisley, Savannah Chrisley, and more. December 18th to 21st in Phoenix, Arizona. The movement meets here. You won't want to miss this. Register now at amfest.com.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
Mama, look.
It's just like our new house.
Warranty! I hope you have an American Home Shield warranty. Leaky toilet? Fixed. Clogged AC coils? Fixed. Oven beyond repair? Ta-da! If AHS can't fix your covered item, then replace it, no matter its age.
A warranty is smart.
Oh, a happy family.
Is that us?
Too much. American Home Shield. Sign up today at ahs.com.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
Welcome back to Turning Point. Tonight, we're together. We are charting the course of America's cultural comeback. Remember, you can email the show anytime you want, tpt@tpusa.com. Send us some stories we need to be talking about. Send us some hilarious videos and memes. That way we can use them in the fourth segment of the show because that lightens my workload, and I greatly appreciate that. tpt@tpusa.com. Let's bring our panel back because I want to bring this up with them. Haley, Brylan, so this Chicago bonanza. I don't even know what to call it. It's craziness going on in Chicago from a political landscape stance. Now, there are two different things happening. There's the ICE stuff that is apparently underway today, and then there's the whole National Guard to clean up the streets of Chicago like they did in Washington, D.C. Now, specifically, I'm talking about the whole National Guard issue. We talked briefly last week that this is an experiment that Chicago's tried. It's worked, but the city leaders of Chicago said, this makes us look bad, so we're not going to ever do it again. Basically, what I'm getting at here is that so many libs have their panties in a wad going, I can't believe he might do this. I can't believe he might do this. Senator Tammy Duckworth went on one of the Sunday talk shows and said, President Trump essentially just declared war on a major city in his own nation. It was a CBS article that was reporting all of that, and they later on said, by the way, the president has no plans of ever putting National Guard in Chicago. So here's the question. Haley, I'll let you answer first. Is President Trump doing a massive head fake here? Because all that's actually happened is that the nation has their eyes fixed on Chicago, how bad the murder rate is, how unsafe the streets are, and maybe the public pressure gets so big that he never actually ends up having to do anything. Libs just freak out, like Brylan said last time, defending crime, that the normal people in the country go, oh, well, yeah, Chicago's crazy and we should do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just putting a spotlight on all of the Democrat policies that are failed policies. And the Democrats are freaking out because it just exposes how horrible they are at their jobs, right? I mean, we saw, unfortunately, Labor Day weekend was the deadliest holiday weekend in Chicago this summer. And just this past weekend, 19 people were shot, 7 unfortunately were killed. So by defying President Trump, they're just denying reality.
That seems to be the case. Libs fighting against reality is my favorite subgenre culture. Brylan, I thought this was pretty funny. In this same article, they talked about President Trump on Saturday. I'm using my scary voice. Truthed out a screenshot that read Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Later on in the article, they said on Sunday, Trump told reporters, yeah, we're not going to war. Kind of just ribbing them on and continuing to troll them in the comment section of the internet. What kind of move do you think this is? Do you think that there is a possibility that he actually sends the National Guard in, or is this, from what it seems like, entirely kind of this, hey, we're just going to focus the attention here and you guys figure it out?
Yeah, a few things there. First of all, in the incredible Department of War, with our now Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, I would say that it's really cool to see that America is now on offense instead of just defense. We're not just here to defend against attacks, we're here to actually go on offense as a nation. The first thing I said to the Trump campaign when I joined their youth operation was, hey, let's actually be a party going on offense instead of just defense. Now we're not only just a party, but a nation going on offense instead of defense. So that's a great thing. Specifically about Chicago, I'll tell you this. I had a reporter call me this morning, and they said, I wanted to get your comment on the, crisis going on in Chicago and how the president is responding to it. And I said, hold on, I have to stop you right there. Which crisis in Chicago are you referring to? Are you referring to the immigration crisis where Chicago is actually being flooded and people are like breaking into the nation and coming to Chicago first and they're actually committing crimes in the streets? Are you talking about the Chicagoans that are committing crimes in the streets? Because either way, people are being killed and the president is the one actually trying to save people. And they said, well, there's no crisis. The mayor said at his press conference, there's not a crisis. And I said, but there are so many crises. I didn't know which one you were calling me about. That's a problem there.
Yeah, mayors would never lie about the state of their city, especially when they're under the microscope. That would be a shock to me if that didn't turn out to be true. So there's no way to transition this well. The VMAs, the Video Music Awards, which I'm sure many of you are scratching your heads at home going, the what? Yeah, exactly. Relative to the other TV shows in the nation, it ranks very, very low. I think it's gotten less than 4 million viewers the last couple of years. There's no ratings out for it yet. The bottom line is, though, this used to be a cultural touchstone. Haley, you dig into the culture quite a bit here. I think one of the things that I wanted to highlight during this cultural touchstone is this Sabrina Carpenter performance. I think we got a short clip of that. Go ahead and play that, and I want to get your response to the doubling down on the woke craziness in what used to be an American cultural pinnacle, the VMAs. Watch this.
Responsible guy.
Okay, you go ahead and turn that off. It actually, okay, so it's a little bit harder to see there, but Haley, surrounded by drag queens, and then a bunch of those signs that were up at the very beginning talking about protecting trans lives and protecting trans kids. Are any of the pop artists nowadays doing themselves a service doubling down on that sort of stuff, or is this going to increasingly lessen the viewership of these already unwatched award shows?
Well, that's kind of the point, right? I don't think that any conservatives are really running to watch the VMAs. I know I'm not. I don't know any of my conservative friends who are tuning into this kind of thing. So it's not like people are really, it's not like conservatives have anything to boycott on this, right? So this is for us. And I think we kind of like are very quick to get our pitchforks out and get all angry at all these culture war issues. But this is a award show for adults. And Sabrina Carpenter, for example, she may look like she's a toddler and tiara contestant, but she does not make content for children. She makes content for adults. It is very sex positive. This is like her brand. So for her to be liberal and for her to push this LGBTQ stuff does not shock me. I'm not clutching my pearls over it. The only thing I'll say is don't push it on children, but if it's only for adults, then fine. And if your kids are watching this stuff, that's on parents to make sure that they are watching age-appropriate content.
I might have a different response to that. I say straight to the gulag with all of these sex pop stars, but that's just me. Brylan, I don't know, your just overall thoughts on this. And again, I kind of, we can talk about, this wasn't necessarily meant for a broader audience, but I think the big thing that I look at is the diminishing influence that libs are doing to themselves, right? Like, I think Haley's totally right. Like, this is not for a conservative audience, but at the same time, a conservative audience nowadays is just like a normal person. I don't necessarily know that this appeals to like normal people, which then again diminishes the value of their influence there. What are your thoughts overall?
Yeah, I mean, the VMAs actually used to genuinely be about music, and what we're seeing now is this really just activists in celebrity clothing, like dancing up there on the stage, trying to get a lot of attention with the least amount of clothing possible. And I'm on a college campus. I mean, I'll tell you, Sabrina Carpenter's target audience is college students. The target audience of the VMA production is college students. Not a single person I know watched this last night. I hung out with friends last night. I was at a Bible study with friends last night. That group of people wasn't there. I've been on a college campus all day. I've had classes all morning. Not a single person's brought it up in classes. I was in a lecture hall with about 300 people. Was a single person watching highlights or talking about the VMAs last night? Not at all. They were watching college football highlights. Nobody cares about the VMAs. Nobody cares about Sabrina Carpenter in today's America. And I just want to remind you of this. We talk about Hollywood and talk about what it used to be with these type shows. Think of the days not too long ago that we had a conservative president and actor come out of Hollywood. The days of Ronald Reagan in this whole era is totally bygone, and he would be unrecognized today in that modern state. This is unfortunate, but again, to Haley's point, not shocking at all.
I'm developing a theory now in real time. Maybe the VMAs also got one of those elusive tax credits from the governor of California. And then because of that, they're pushing the woke nonsense continually, even though it's detrimental to their own influence. I don't know. Maybe that's what's going on there. Haley, Brylan, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having us. Have a good week.
Thank you. Coming up next here on Turning Point Tonight, got an awesome clip from Alex Clark's Culture Apothecary podcast, one of the #1 health and wellness podcasts produced by Turning Point USA. Also, you can email the show anytime you want. TPT, Turning Point Tonight, at tpusa.com, TPT at tpusa.com. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away.
America Fest is the starting point for us to take America to greater heights in 2025. We have a team that is ready to change the world and bring America back to greatness.
Experience the greatest celebration of America. 4 days, thousands of patriots, the loudest voices, the strongest leaders, featuring Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, Grant Cardone, Rob Schneider, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Glenn Beck, Riley Gaines, Todd Chrisley, Savannah Chrisley, and more. December 18th to 21st in Phoenix, Arizona. The movement meets here. You won't want to miss this. Register now at amfest.com.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galina. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You'll see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
Right now in Ukraine, elderly Jews are trapped in unbearable poverty. If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now.
How does the world's most trusted dog expert keep his own dog so healthy?
Hi, I am Cesar Milan. In my 20 years rehabilitating dogs, I've seen too many struggle with health problems that no amount of training could fix. Then I discovered it wasn't the dog, it was their food. Fortunately, I found veterinarian Dr. Marty's anti-kibble breakthrough.
Nature's Blend is packed with whole foods that are freeze-dried, locking in nutrients.
I saw remarkable improvements in my dogs within weeks.
Try Dr. Marty risk-free for 90 days. Plus, get a free gift when you call or visit drmartypets.com/Caesar.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
What should people know about the most popular food scanner apps?
Oh, that they just do not trump your brain. They just could never. Like, these food scanner apps that people are getting so obsessed with are just not accurate. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only scan what's available to you. And I think people like it because they don't have to think, right? And when you stop thinking, that's exactly what they want. You know, they don't want you thinking about any types of options that you're trying. I mean, even for me, like if I go into my local Target or Walmart, I can scan all day, but if I don't have good options, I'm going to feel stressed having to pick something bad because the scanner told me that it's bad, right? So if I don't really have a lot of decent options there, you know, I'm getting stressed. You know, I could imagine if I'm like, oh my God, there's no clean shampoo or there's no, you know, good snack options here. Everything has canola, everything has sunflower on this. The app is telling me how bad it is. I'm going to go home stressed and pissed off. You know, like that's not helpful.
Do some of these food scanner apps allow brands to pay them so that their product will be recommended?
I would think so. I mean, I don't know 100%, but there's been a lot of speculation that there are brands paying for better scores.
I'll tell you this, the Yucca app will tell you beef tallow is bad. I think it labels it as a saturated fat.
Yeah. I mean, I've done My Brain versus the Yucca app so many times, and it's kind of mind-blowing the things that they allow on that app, because they allow brands like Cetaphil, which has a lot of endocrine disruptors in that, and they think it's like 100, like it's a great product. I recently did one where I saw that it will say that essential oils are bad, which Essential oils, of course, like if you're allergic, it can maybe cause skin irritation, but if you're not allergic, it's really not an issue. But it won't say that fragrance is bad. And fragrance can hide, we know, like hundreds of different types of parabens and endocrine disruptors and phthalates that brands don't necessarily have to disclose. So how are you allowing that?
Somebody asked me the other day, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it really that I avoid fragrance?
For me, it's a 10.
I said 10.
10 out of 10. That's
Why?
the one thing I tell people, get out of your house. I mean, I work with brands all the time that'll say that they use, you know, natural fragrance, and then they're very open about what is actually in that. And it looks great to me, right? I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And it's a proprietary blend. They don't want somebody, you know, really copying their thing, but we don't have that opportunity when we're at an app, when we're at a store and the app is telling us that it's bad, right? Like we don't have the opportunity to go and email the brand really quick. Like, let me just see what's in it. So I always just say tell people, just avoid fragrance. It is the best thing that you're going to do for your hormones, for your thyroid, for your pets, for your kids. They should not be inhaling things that you have no idea how it's, you know, being treated, really, because you have no idea what they're putting in there.
Do you have as strong of feelings as I do about Trader Joe's?
That we hate it?
Do you hate it? Because I
don't
hate
like
it.
Trader Joe's.
I don't like Trader Joe's either. What's your reasoning?
I mean, they have beautiful flowers.
Yes.
Right. We can all agree. We have some united front that Trader Joe's has great flowers. And they also have like good, I don't know about your Trader Joe's, but the produce section is like pretty decent.
Yep.
But almost everything has inflammatory oils. It's just branded junk food. That's all it is. And it's always old people in there because they like the ready-made meals, and I understand like the convenience of it, but it's all just rebranded junk, and it's filled with so many artificial preservatives and just unnecessary ingredients. Like there's no reason for all of that. I mean, it looks appealing because they have all different types of flavors and combinations, but for me, it's not where I go to shop.
Yeah, I mean, the purpose of Trader Joe's, I don't care what anybody says, you're not only going there for their produce. I think that they offer a good produce selection, and I think it's a lot of times cheaper.
Yeah.
But beyond that, you stop lying to yourself. Stop. Be honest.
Yeah.
It is the ultra processed food in that store that hooks everybody, and it is good, as in it tastes good, but it is filled with crap. And they'll be like, well, they don't have artificial dyes. Okay. They don't have artificial dyes, but they have 5 other things.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, people are obsessed with this store, and I just think it is so unbelievably overrated and unhealthy.
Yeah.
And they have great customer service, but so does Chick-fil-A, and that's also just as bad.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do, you know, swap videos in Trader Joe's or things that I would actually buy at Trader Joe's, and it's very, very, very hard. Like I see things all the time and I'm like, oh, like this looks so good, but it's just filled with inflammatory oils and just like preservatives, carrageenan, like things that I just don't want in my food. And people just, I think if 50% of the store is frozen, like everything's in the frozen food section, it's probably not the best for you.
How would you implement all of this health and wellness knowledge if you were about to start college and live on campus with a strict budget?
Oh my God, just minimize. I think so many people think that they need so much. And I think that's the problem with social, like wellness, social media, is we tell everybody that we need everything. You know, we need all the supplements and all the things. And I always tell people that the first thing you need to do is get rid of a lot of the things that you think that you need. Like there's no reason you need 5 different cleansers and 5 different, you know, toners and skincare items. Like my skincare routine is probably 3 things, and I'm like good with that. We don't need all of the things, but I think especially moms who are buying their daughters things for college, you know, like it doesn't have to be the most expensive stuff. There's amazing, you know, teenage friendly skincare brands that aren't, you know, that you're going to find at Sephora, and they're, you know, filled with the synthetic fragrance and the endocrine disruptors, especially like at that age. And I think especially for people in college, whether, you know, girls or boys, not to really get into the alcohol hype too. Because I think once you start getting into the alcohol hype and going to the frat parties and the sorority houses, and you start getting into drinking culture, your health is going to take a turn. I think everybody that I know that was in college, we all had terrible health. Like, yes, we ate terribly, but we drank on like Tuesdays and Thursdays, you know, like we were always just part of drinking culture. And, you know, we have like an intern now that is just graduated college, and she's like, I didn't drink in college. I'm like, is this the new generation? Like the new generation just not drinking anymore?
Gen Z is embracing sobriety more than any other generation, I think, which is great. What I say to college kids is, and I know a bunch are about to start school, that's why I wanted to bring up this conversation, because I do get asked this sometimes, is I think, one, if you're living on campus and in a dorm, sometimes your dorm will have a kitchen. So like
sometimes.
no one uses that in cooks.
Yeah.
But you could ask for a mini, pots and pan set, and then you could Aldi, Walmart, again, doesn't have to be organic if you can't afford it, just getting real food, ingredient food, and then cooking meals. 1, if you have access to the kitchen, use it. 2, if you are going to be eating on campus at their little restaurants and all that in the food court, then it's the real food items. Try to do like, protein and vegetables and rice, grain, those types of things. And I would say avoid all the fried stuff.
For sure. I mean, I feel like I would like to see a little grassroots movement of all these college kids doing potluck style dinners.
Well, I also said, this is going to take a special type of kid.
Yeah.
But also I said, here's the thing. You are paying that school. You are the paying customer. If all of these kids rise up and say, this is BS, we deserve better food options, I am paying to go here, you should give me access to better, real, organic food. I feel like a lot of schools would start listening if you got enough kids on campus rising a ruckus about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think more kids it's just so hard. Like, I'm hoping that the parents that are sending their kids to college will be the encouragers of doing something in that way. For me, my heart hurts when I see all these preteen and teenage girls stuffing their baskets at Sephora with just endocrine disruptors, and you're lathering it all over your bodies in your, those are the years where your hormones are really developing. You're getting into the years where you're probably going to start thinking of kids after college, right?
This is why the Gen A drunk elephant obsession at Sephora is so dangerous.
Oh, 100%. Actually, I was going to do a video on drunk elephant and a lot of these brands at Sephora, because Sephora also has a quote unquote clean section. So does Target. A lot of brands are trying to create clean sections, and they're just nowhere close to my standard of clean. Like, many of them will allow fragrance, which if you aren't willing to disclose what that fragrance is, then it probably shouldn't be in the clean section. And all these girls are thinking like, maybe I'm doing myself some justice by getting something in the quote unquote clean section, and it's still filled with potential endocrine disruptors.
So what actual clean brands are at Sephora?
If there are any, let me think.
Kosas.
Makeup wise, Kosas, Ilia, RMS. RMS is probably my favorite one. Those are like the top 3 that I think.
Origins truly clean, or maybe they do fragrance? Caudalie?
I don't think they are. Caudalie is not clean.
Ooh.
Yeah, that is not a clean brand.
America Fest is the starting point for us to take America to greater heights in 2025. We have a team that is ready to change the world and bring America back to greatness.
Experience the greatest celebration of America. 4 days, thousands of patriots, the loudest voices, the strongest leaders, featuring Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, Grant Cardone, Rob Schneider, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Glenn Beck, Riley Gaines, Todd Chrisley, Savannah Chrisley, and more. December 18th to 21st in Phoenix, Arizona. The movement meets here. You won't want to miss this. Register now at amfest.com.
Hey, did you find the manual?
Yes!
Summon Dale!
Who's Dale?
American Home Show now provides video chat with live repair experts for home fixes over the phone. Let's go fix that oven.
Okay, Dale.
Sign up today at ahs.com.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
This right here is confidence in a bottle. It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the Easy Well Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need, and discounts for seniors and military.
Welcome back to Turning Point Tonight, where together we are charting the course of America's cultural comeback. You can get 50% off your tickets to AmericaFest. Amfest.com. Amfest 2025 is going to be unbelievable. It's 4 days, which I think is the longest it's ever been. It is fantastic. It is the best Turning Point event. I know I've said that I can't ever decide which event is the best, but this is just objectively the best. Amfest.com is where you can get 50% off general admission tickets. Those are not going to last forever, by the way. Those are going to go away as we get closer to the event. And also, too, prices go up as you get closer. If you're going to do a hotel, if you got to rent a car, if you're going to get on a plane, all of those are cheaper right now. Amfest.com, 50% off general admission, and cheaper everything else if you plan in advance. So go do that, and you won't regret it. You can also email the show anytime you want, tpt@tpusa.com. We love seeing all of your emails. We like sending the hilarious memes. There are a bunch of you that send us very, very funny memes and very funny videos that unfortunately are a little bit too spicy for us to play here, to put on this show, which, again, I appreciate. I appreciate them for the laughs that I get. I appreciate just laughing for myself while I'm at my house or wherever I am, looking at the emails, going, that's funny. I can't play it, but that's funny. So tpt@tpusa.com. You can email your thoughts, stories we need to be talking about, anything you want. TPT, not anything you want. There's some things that I don't care about. I don't care about some, personal, some disagreement you have with the fence line with your neighbor. I don't care about that. But other than that, anything you want, tpt@tpusa.com. Let's get into some interesting videos today. We've got a little bit of time, so we've got a little bit of time to discuss some more nuanced things, some things that might sound great if you're a 20-year-old with zero world experience. But I want to play this video from, I believe he's an assemblyman at the time. You're going to recognize this guy's face. Ma'am Danny over there in New York as an assembly member talking about how, well, let me rephrase that. I'm not sure if he's an assembly member when recording this video. This is a video that he put out talking about how he's going to restructure housing, and we'll talk about how bad these ideas are and why they are such awful ideas after this. Watch this and we'll discuss.
Further, toward the Vienna model, we'll have to go beyond the market. We can establish community land trusts to gradually buy up housing on the private market and convert it to community ownership. We can give tenants a right of first refusal to buy out their landlords when buildings go up for sale. And we can fully commit to a new era of social housing, ending subsidies for luxury housing development and using our wealth to build beautiful, high-quality social housing projects that offer good homes and strong communities to everyone. We won't decommodify housing overnight, but we know what we have to do.
Okay, so he made three different and all equally interesting points. The last one was kind of broad. He's like, we can decommodify housing. I mean, I don't need to go into the reasons why that's a bad idea. You have to incentivize people to do good things or else they won't do the good things. The second point he made was kind of interesting. Tenants get first right of refusal if somebody wants to sell the building. Okay, well, the potential problems that would come from that is, so if I own a building and I want to sell that building, I have to give my tenant the right to refuse. That's what right of refusal means. Okay, well, at what price? Is the government stepping in and telling me, well, I have to sell it to this tenant at this rate because this is what their rent is? Maybe they're paying super undervalued rent and therefore it doesn't equate to what the building is actually worth. There's a lot of problems that go on there, especially if it's mandated that I have to make sure my tenant doesn't want to buy the property first. And if they do, can they tie me up in some sort of legal battle, which diminishes the value of the property on the open market? There's lots of problems with that. But I think the one big one that I think was really interesting is talking about forming community trusts. I forget what he calls it specifically, where they can buy up houses on the private market. This is where I feel like a bunch of 20-year-old libs would go, wow, that's a great idea. And then we can all collectively own it. Here is the massive and glaring problem. And interestingly enough, I know several people that are experiencing this sort of thing right now. When a government enters into the bidding process for houses, one thing that the government can do that the private sector cannot, and this is not a good thing that they can do this, is they can issue their own debt in order to outbid the private sector. In other words, if a house or a building, let's just say, is worth $1 million, okay, and just using round numbers here, a private sector owner can come in and say, I will give you, $800,000 or $1 million. They can even go up to $1.2 million. But at a certain point, the ability to buy that house needs to be rooted in what the building is actually valued at. Then comes in the government, and that house, building is worth $1 million, it might fluctuate a little bit depending on who's bidding and why they're bidding on it for in the private sector. Then the government comes in and says, no, I'm buying it, and I'm buying it for $2 million. Well, it would be ridiculous of the owner to not sell to the government. The problem is the government doesn't have the money to buy that building. Instead, they've issued debt. And then therefore, the people that are being represented by said government now have that debt saddled upon them. So the government now owns the building, outbid all of the other private sector individuals who wanted to purchase that building. The government then has no incentive to upkeep the building because why would they? And is now saddled with a bunch of debt, which nobody wants to pay because, well, the dilapidated building isn't worth $2 million. So why are we going to pay this back? Except for the fact that they have to because there's a fiduciary duty for people to have to pay their debts back. The whole thing to be said is when the government bids on things and can issue debt, unlike people in the private sector, they are going to inflate the value and saddle the voters or the constituents with the debt that they use to irresponsibly buy a thing they couldn't freaking afford. That took up a lot more time than I thought it was going to. I mean, I'm passionate about this sort of stuff because, like I said, it is going on in a place that I know and love, and the municipality in question is buying up property with money they don't have issued on debt that's going to be saddled to the individuals in the city, and that is the government. That's why people don't compete with the government. That's why the grocery store owners in Manhattan or New York as a whole say, I will leave. I will not compete with someone that has leverage that I do not have in the free market. Wow, like I said, that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I'm not even sure we have time to play clip 2. Let's go to clip 3 because I think this is much shorter and I think illustrates the point to the point where I don't have to ramble on about it afterward. Watch this and we'll briefly discuss before we gotta sign off. Check this out.
I know this is an outdated term, but is cultural appropriation not a thing anymore? I don't think you're Middle Eastern. You can't wear that scarf.
Like technically, Mac, that is cultural appropriation.
That's shame. Shame, shame, shame. You really should be ashamed of yourself. I'm going to film it right now. Look at that. That is a white person. That is a white person. Shame! Shame!
It is cultural appropriation.
Shame!
You have a good point.
Shame!
You have a great point, man.
I'm shaming her because she's white and she's wearing a Middle Eastern headdress. It's really not okay.
I love throwing liberal logic right back in their face. I also, the narcissism of the young lady wearing whatever it is that she was wearing to just stay there and think that I can solve this problem. No, you just walk away when that sort of thing is happening. So dumb on two fronts. That's going to do it for us here at Turning Point tonight. Charlie's going to take us out. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow. God bless America.
J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product, so I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing, there's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
And so the Democrats have actually been focused on this. Then this is what Obama unlocked for them. Obama was able to get people out and get people excited. This is actually where they're struggling, is because they're at the national level really lacking that interest. Our side has to realize that and realize, hey, moving forward, after Donald Trump, you're going to have to make sure that the people love and want to get up and work for that person who's running.
So part of what we are building, and more specifically what you are building that we're doing together, is trying to build an outside party organizational apparatus that is not at odds necessarily with the establishment Republican Party at all times. We'll pick some fights every so often where if they go out of control, like Liz Cheney or McConnell.
Yeah, destructive stuff. Yeah.
But instead, it is an outside organization. What can an outside organization do that the party itself cannot do? Again, I'm not knocking the RNC. I get along with Chairman Whatley. He's running for the Senate. We've come a long way since Ronna McRomney. And Tyler deserves credit because he picked the fight first. We just finished it. And I believe that if she would remain chairman, Donald Trump would not be president today. I'm sorry. I could prove that point. I think if Ronna would have stayed and ran the RNC, Donald Trump would not have won in November. I think she would have prevented Donald Trump's victory, believe it or not.
No question.
But anyway, and that's not a knock at Trump. That's just a knock at Ronna. But Tyler, what can an outside organization do? Why is it different? How is it funded differently? What are the flexibilities? Right. Why does it matter?
So everybody knows there's a number of different things that the party can't do that outside or nonprofits can do. And the first and foremost, and the first big problem is just funding limitations. Parties can only accept so much money in most states.
$900,000 a year.
Yeah, but then it drills down into candidates. So
it's very complicated.
Candidates can only collect so much per person per year. When you get into the outside, obviously we know independent expenditures, things like that. But this is the problem that exists. Is the candidate cycle in America is essentially 2 years, right? So most people don't announce that they're running more than 2 years before they're actually going to run. It's typically less than that. The average is usually less than a year, believe it or not. And there's no possible and fundamental way that you can build a campaign infrastructure that can do all the things that are necessary to win if the other side is doing them full time. So the first and foremost is hiring, door knockers, hiring people that are going to build effective relationships for you out in the field. The second is legal. There's no way that you're going to be able to fight a fight with someone in the remaining 60 days of the election if your opponent's been basically crafting an entire legal strategy against you for 2 to 4 years. And this is part of what the lawfare thing has been done to Donald Trump that nobody ever talks about.
And to you.
Is the outside, and to me, which is, we're winning this thing, but you have a real struggle with that. The third thing, which is most critical with parties that people never talk about too, is that most people don't realize those that have been involved, who here has been involved with like their local Republican Party? Okay. A little more than half the room. If you've ever walked in.
That's good though. That's more than
expected.
Great.
When you walk in, how has your experience been in that fundamental time?
The DMV is better.
It's a little crazy.
I'd rather go through TSA.
It's a little gritty. Sometimes you walk in, there's like kind of just fighting happening that's going on. You don't really know what's going on, and people challenge.
They have fax machines. Everybody.
Some of it's really old. So when I took over, when I was the county chairman in Maricopa County over 10 years ago now.
It's amazing.
10 years ago, I was in my mid-20s, and my average precinct committee member was 71. So there's sometimes a cultural divide that happens. But the most critical part is that most of those jobs for leadership are 2 years or less, right? So they're 2 years. The average state party chair, Charlie, only serves for a year. States like Hawaii have gone through like 5 or 6 in the last couple of years. So you have a real problem when you have the party leadership only being able to survive for months. And by the time they get in, they get their feet wet, they're figuring it out. It's already 6 months down the road. They're almost checking out by the time they check in. So there's no way for the party itself to actually do the job that everyone claims when they become chair that they're doing.
Yes.
And that was the Ronna problem that you brought up. The fundamental problem with Ronna, she was going across the entire country, telling everyone she was doing all the work that was necessary to win. And upon further inspection, none of that was being done.
So then how are we at Turning Point Action going about fixing this?
Yeah. So the outside model works. We proved that this last election cycle. The largest swing of any state was Arizona, and it wasn't by any mistake. It was hard, nose to the grindstone, boots on the ground, as Charlie says, tennis shoes and clipboard work.
We gave it all we had.
That was throwing absolutely everything you possibly can.
We threw everything we had.
Everything. I mean, we literally just like unleashed on the state. And the outcome was exactly what we expected. Was that we had a body of about 400,000 people who did not vote in 2016 or 2020. And Charlie brought up something earlier today that was a really funny story. We had people that we knocked on their doors. They were the biggest Trump fans that you've ever seen in your entire life. In fact, there was one story that I tell all the time. A guy, we knock on his door. He did not vote in the last 2 elections, including 2020. Knock on his door and start talking to him. He's like, "What do you do for work?" And our person said, "Oh, I work for Turning Point." They're like, "Wait a minute." They slam the door, run around to their garage, open their garage, and it's like, a shrine to Trump. Every Trump flag that you can possibly have. And on top of that, Turning Point, because in 2020 and 2022, the Republican Party ran out of yard signs for Trump. So we started producing our own. We produced tens of thousands of yard signs in key target states and gave them out.
Yep.
This gentleman had every single Turning Point Action yard sign for Trump. Did not vote in that election. Did not vote in that election.
The real thing, guys.
And Charlie, the number one thing that we ask people, we assume that when we talk to people, their number one reason for not voting was they just didn't care about voting.
Not true.
That's not true.
That's not right.
The number, remember what the number one thing is? They didn't know how, or they thought they already did.
Well, that's the other thing, right? I voted for Trump in the primary 2 years ago. Doesn't that count? Can't they just grandfather it in?
This guy who did not vote had voted sporadically in primaries. He had voted sporadically in other midterm elections or not less important elections like city council stuff that's off the grid and stuff like that. So he was kind of in and out, but missed the presidential, the big one, because he
missed the Kerry Lake election.
And he swore up and down he had voted.
The Charlie Kirk Show starts now.
Well, I think that you have to understand that D.C. is different than every other city. But also for us, robberies are already down 30%. Carjackings are already down.
But wouldn't you want them down? Wouldn't you want them down even further? I know they're saying they're going down, but wouldn't you just take that extra help?
The Trump administration says it will crack down on sanctuary cities. New York Times reports Boston is being targeted because of its policies to limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities. Now, in response to the reports, Mayor Wu released a statement saying, today, Boston is the safest major city in the country because we have worked to build trust in the community. We will not be bullied or intimidated into abandoning the efforts that make Boston a safe home for everyone.
We know what it's about, and it has nothing to do with fighting crime. And it has, honestly, sending National Guard in has nothing to do with immigration either. What it has to do with is he's trying to set the stage for interference in the elections in 2026 and in 2028.
We've seen that Donald Trump use the law as a suggestion. He believes that it's something that he's above, and what he's showing is that he's willing to utilize any tool, whether those real or imagined, to try and shape this race. We are confident that no matter what formulation this race takes, whether it's me versus three candidates or me one-on-one with any one of them, we'll win the race. But what we cannot stand is the affront to democracy and the idea that it is a president who can pick the next mayor of the city and not the people of that same city.
I believe, Kelly, that a lot of this has to do with politics and nothing to do with keeping communities safe. As you stated, if we are already decreasing our crime stats, why shouldn't we push and decrease even more? Why shouldn't we make one less victim of violence in the city of Chicago? And I feel that the governor and the mayor are refusing to accept the president's help, both in terms of the National Guard as well as with additional federal agency support here in the Windy City, because they don't want to be viewed as capitulating and working with the president of the United States for their own political purposes. One wants to be president, one hopes to remain mayor, and they think that their path to victory lies in standing up to Donald Trump.
There are a lot of patriotic Americans who work in the administration or work at the departments or in the military who have let us know things without, having permission to do so. And so I would call some of that rumor, but, well-sourced rumors.
That's fake news. When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why are you the Department of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Right now, the top 1% earners in the city, we need that tax revenue to pay for some of the things you're talking about. How do you pay for it if they're gone?
And my vision is not one where they leave. It is one where they stay. It is
How
one
do you get them to stay?
In part by showing them that asking them to pay more in taxes would increase even their quality of life. Many of my opponents, chiefly Andrew Cuomo, would prefer to debate a mythical version of myself than the person that I actually am. They would prefer to focus on tweets from 2020 as opposed to the platform of 2025.
What you're really saying is that those tweets of 2020, you've evolved from that. You've changed from that. You've changed your views.
Yes, that those are out of step with the campaign that we are running. And it's been clear throughout.
Out of step with how you feel.
Yes.
So yes. You've totally changed your mind?
Yes.
Okay.
you have benefited from this country, but you don't support the system, the economic system that perhaps you benefited from. Is that right?
I love this country, and I'm also a New Yorker who has loved this city. And one of the things that I love most about the city are its parks. And its parks, and the Parks Department, was founded by a socialist mayor of New York City, Fiorello LaGuardia.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a foolish man, full of foolish and vapid ideas. And that was on display again this week in front of Congress. This wholly unqualified man in charge of 25% of all government spending. The president's smart enough to know RFK Jr. doesn't belong in that job. But after he won, he wanted to show everybody, I can do whatever I want to do because this Senate will be compliant no matter what I do. And I'll put the greatest vaccine and public health denier of the last 20 years in charge of public health in America. It's a human middle finger, George, to everybody who opposed him.
Charlie.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
Every day, there's a battle for your mind raging. Information coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
Okay, everybody, radio stations across the country, honor to be with you as always. You can email us, freedom@charliekirk.com, and we are here in the Bitcoin.com studio. I am back fresh from Asia on Wednesday evening. Once we finished the program, I boarded a quite long flight from Los Angeles all the way to Seoul, South Korea. I was there to first speak at an event called Build Up Korea. I learned a lot while I was in Korea, and we're going to be talking about that throughout the program. We also have Vivek Ramaswamy and Senator Rick Scott joining us in just a minute. I learned a lot, and this event, Build Up Korea, was basically a America Fest, a AmFest carbon copy. It was so much, it learned that people really love Turning Point USA aesthetics. Look at that. That's not a Turning Point event. That's not Student Action Summit. That is Build Up Korea. And I was thrilled. I'd call it Korea Fest, but it was practically just America Fest. They love America, whether it be the pyrotechnics, the lights, the intro videos. It was basically exactly what we have proven to be successful at America Fest. They brought to Korea. It was really something to be able to meet with the South Korean patriots. Their country is totally under attack. We're going to talk about this a little bit later in the hour. The ruling party is arresting pastors, going after political dissidents, and South Korea, which is an American protectorate, is quickly becoming a less and less free country. South Korea has a ton of problems. They have the worst birth rate in the world. They have the highest plastic surgery rate in the world, and those two things really should not be the same? If you think about it, if you have really high plastic surgery, shouldn't people want to also then be simultaneously be getting married and having children? That's something worth exploring. So we spent some time in South Korea, and I have a ton to share with that. Then I went to Tokyo and spoke with the Sansito Party, which is a populist nationalist party that is rising up in Japan, all about kicking foreigners out of Japan, because now there are over 3 million foreigners in Japan that are very quietly and secretly finding themselves into Japanese life. They want to erase, replace, and eradicate Japan by bringing in Indonesians, by bringing in Arabs, by bringing in Muslims. The same things that we have been fighting for here, whether it be lawfare in South Korea or mass migration in Japan, this is a worldwide phenomenon. But the thing that was the most striking, and it connects with the news today in America, the thing that is the most incredible is what happens when you walk outside of your hotel in South Korea. I got up quite early the next day. I mean, your body clock gets all messed up in trips like this. So the fact I slept 7 hours and woke up at 5:30 local is like an accomplishment. Usually, if you're coming from America, you wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and you're all messed up. So I woke up at 5:30 and I said, I'm going to go get a cup of tea and go explore the city. And I did, by myself. And it was amazing. As soon as you walk out of the hotel, there's no bums. There's no people asking you for money. They don't really put up with graffiti at all. This is the streets of Seoul, South Korea. And I walked 6 miles all throughout downtown Seoul, South Korea. And it's a pretty amazing thing. Whether it be walking through public transportation, whether it be walking through public parks, everything is clean, orderly. They take pride and responsibility over their public spaces. In fact, Blake and I, one evening, Blake said, Charlie, I have to show you the subway station. I said, the subway station? I said, Blake, is that safe? And Blake chuckled. He said, safe? The whole country is safe. I said, why is that? He said, well, they don't bring third world people and put up with 14 repeat career criminal offenders. Here's just one little taste. This is Blake and I in the subway station, not actually on the subway itself, in Seoul, South Korea. Play cut 284.
This is immaculate compared to what we're used to, right? This is unbelievable. Wait, this is a subway? Blake? You're kidding me.
This card, and you would scan in with it. It's only about $1 every time you get on. Maybe $1.20.
All right, where are we going?
This way on the bottom.
Do they have restrooms down here?
They probably do, although I've never used one.
What are these things here?
Oh, this is a crane game. Like,
is that all rigged?
Yeah, something like that. It's all.
Oh, they do have restrooms.
Okay, yeah, great. So everywhere's sort of maybe $100 convenience stores. Some of them are enormous.
The video goes on for quite some time. The amount of filth, crime, and violence that we put up is insane. I remember I asked someone at my hotel, like the doorman concierge, I said, hey, is it safe to be here in South Korea? And he didn't speak great English. He said, safe? Like, what do you mean safe? Are you worried about getting mugged or things getting stolen? He said, oh, no. Things are safe in your room. I was like, no, I got that. But walking the streets of Seoul, and I was trying to, of course, overcome the language barrier. Are you worried that if you're on a bus or a subway, something is going to happen to you? Like a car accident? No, are you worried that someone's going to come and do something? Do something? It was as if I was communicating not just a different language, but a different planetary reality. That someone would feel unsafe in a major city like Seoul, South Korea. Now, we are a wealthier country than South Korea. We founded South Korea, which I will talk about later this hour, thanks to the heroism of General MacArthur. And now as I'm coming back from Asia and I'm looking what's happening in Washington, D.C., Chicago, and of course, the breaking news of this new footage we have of the stabbing murder of the 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, Irina Zarutska, a young white lady who was stabbed to death by a black criminal. by a complete stranger on a train in Charlotte. Now, you might have not seen this footage yet. This is becoming national news, and the left is doing everything they possibly can not to talk about it. The media is very uncomfortable about this story. If you watch this video, this guy was sitting minding his own. She was minding her own business. He was minding her own business. She was also dressed in like baggy clothes, comes up, takes out a knife, stabs her to death. 14 times he was previously arrested. 14 times. 14 times. He comes up and just stabs her to death. Situations like this are a nearly daily occurrence in our cities. And I'm coming back from two nations, Japan and South Korea, that are poorer than us, that are not as populous as us, and their cities are not just safer, they are different planetary realities. As if I went to Saturn and we live on Mars. We do not have to live this way. You can create a society and a culture where you can get on a train or a subway and not be Irina Zarutska and get stabbed to death in the neck because some black criminal decides, I'm just going to go do it. 14 times he was previously arrested. And all of the Koch brother funded liberal criminal justice BS is the reason why guys like him are still on the streets. 14 times. Let's put this back up on screen. And Irina Zarutska, why did she come to America? She was fleeing violence in Ukraine. It turns out it's more dangerous on subways in Charlotte, North Carolina than a war zone in Ukraine. The Associated Press wrote 0 stories about this over the weekend. PBS, New York Times, NPR, Wall Street Journal, BBC, CNN, Washington Post, Reuters, MSNBC, 0 stories. Now they're finally fixing that, but the stories they're writing, like this repulsive headline from Axios this morning, the gruesome attack of the fatal knife attack in Irina Zarutska on a light car rail in Charlotte, has MAGA influencers seeking to elevate the issue of violent urban crime. Oh, this is all about MAGA influencers now? Oh, it's not about the fact that a white Ukrainian refugee was murdered just because she was white. Everybody knows that, obviously. Stabbed to death. And by the way, the other sick part, which has now become the new urban way, everyone just kind of sat around and didn't administer first aid for 90 seconds. Just glued to their phones. We don't have to live this way. She survived a war but couldn't survive progressive criminal justice reform. We should be more like Seoul in Tokyo. We'll be right back.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5. It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house. It's cleaning, it's sanitizing. There's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Democrats, America is a republic, not a democracy. Fact check. True.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. We don't have to live this way. Crime is a choice, and we're going to build that out throughout this episode here, and you guys should subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast episode. The focus of our leaders trying to say, well, we need criminal justice reform. We need more people in jail. We do not have enough people in prison in America. We do not have enough people in jail. We don't have enough people that are arrested on the side of the streets. That is a constant theme of this program. I want to tell you guys about whyrefi.com. This Wednesday, we are back on tour. That's right. This Wednesday, we have a major event that is brewing at Utah Valley State University. It's whyrefi.com that is the partner with us on this campus tour. If you know anybody that has privately held student loan debt, go to whyrefi.com. If your private student loan debt is keeping you up at night and ruining your life, go to whyrefi.com. Bad credit is accepted. And if you have a co-borrower, Whyrefi can get them released from the loan, and you can give mom or dad a break. Go to whyrefi.com, call 888-WhyRefi34, or log on to whyrefi.com. That is YREFY.com. Whyrefi is amazing. Many clients aren't even able to make the minimum monthly payment on their private student loans when they first contact Whyrefi. Whyrefi refinances distressed and defaulted private student loans. Go to whyrefi.com. That is whyrefi.com. YREFY.com. When the payment might be too much, go to whyrefi.com. They don't care what your credit score is, may not be available in all 50 states. Go to whyrefi.com. That's whyrefi.com. Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. We're gonna repeat this throughout the hour. The Charlotte criminal had past convictions for armed robbery, felony larceny, breaking and entering, and shoplifting. He should have just been in jail for his entire life. They vilified 3 strike laws, but we shouldn't let them. They work. We need to arrest more people. We need more criminals. We need less accommodating criminals, and we need bigger prisons. We need to fill them up with these types of disgusting people. Stay right there. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. Vivek Ramaswamy and Senator Rick Scott join us, 2 great men who are in New York City right now trying to warn about Zohran Mamdani and what he represents. Welcome to you both. Vivek, I want to start with you. Vivek, this attack in North Carolina was obviously preventable. There's a racial component to this as well, which is a black criminal which assaults and stabs a white woman to death, and the media wouldn't be bothered. When George Floyd overdosed on the side of the street in Minneapolis, everyone decided this was the most important thing since Pearl Harbor. Vivek Ramaswamy, you're running for governor of Ohio. What are your thoughts of this situation and more broadly the crime issue in America?
Yeah, look, I mean, what happened in Charlotte's unconscionable. But at the same time, we wouldn't be talking about it here if it were just a one-off. This is part of a national pattern. You look at my hometown of Cincinnati, look at the incidents of just a few weeks ago, which share some of the same dimensions you just described, Charlie. You look at what's happening in places like New York City, where I am with Senator Scott today, to L.A. This is something that represents a broader breakdown of respect for the rule of law in the country. And, you know, in this broader conversation about who are we as Americans, that's a core part of who we are as Americans, is we believe in the rule of law. That's part of what founded this country. And the degradation of the respect for the rule of law, I think, is almost even more frightening than any one individual incident. And that's what we're going to have to turn around. Frankly, Ohio, where I'm looking to govern, we're a state of cities. You got Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Toledo, Akron, Youngstown. It's sad to watch the cities in the heartland of the country to our coasts go down the tubes. But the good news is we know how to solve the problem. You were talking about some of it. Bring back actually sentencing standards that reflect the standards of the crimes. Bail should not be granted to somebody who is a repeat offender with ease and with, smooth as water now for many of these people to get back out. Juvenile crime is a major issue after the COVID school closures. Deal with the juvenile courts, even for people who are older juveniles, in ways that actually recognize violent offenders and even would-be criminals for what they are. Common sense, but what we're missing is leaders with the spine to see it through. That's a big part of why I'm running in Ohio. We're going to get it done in Ohio. And frankly, if places like New York or otherwise fail, we need bastions like Ohio, like Florida, like it's been in the past, for people to actually pack their bags and move. And that's what we're creating.
Senator Rick Scott from Florida is with us. Senator Scott, what is your take on this situation? And I do want to talk about New York here, but what can the U.S. acting as if the U.S. Senate's going to do anything, unfortunately, is laughable because, not you, but your colleagues are quite lazy. But theoretically, what could the U.S. Senate do to prevent repeat offenders like this from prowling our streets?
Well, first off, your heart goes out to this lady's family. You just imagine you're sitting on a train, all right, and then all of a sudden some guy starts stabbing you and killing you. If you think, Charlie, this bothers me so much. The biggest thing you can do, and I have 2 daughters, I have 7 grandkids, is you can't imagine anybody in your family in that situation. So what we've got to do at every level of government, whatever we can do at the federal level, whatever we can do at the state level, whatever we can do at the local level, we have to enforce our laws. We've got to put criminals in prison. They need to serve their entire sentence, right? We cannot be soft on crime. I want my family to be safe. I want your family to be safe and Vivek's family to be safe. So what can the Senate do is for federal crimes, right? For federal crimes, make sure the sentences are stiff and people serve their time. On top of that, we need to help our local law enforcement every way we can. I'm very appreciative of what the president has done in D.C. What this guy's done, D.C. is a place where I didn't want to walk around. Nobody wanted to walk around in D.C. It's not safe to walk around in D.C. What he's done in D.C. is he's made it a place that you can walk around now. There's way more people outside now walk around in D.C. than there was before the president brought in the National Guard. But every mayor, every governor, and we've got to all say, this is the most important thing we ought to be doing right now. Keep people alive, keep people safe. Senator,
what is just a minute here? We're going to blow both the brakes, but really quick, why are you in New York? What is the significance of your trip?
Well, Vivek and I are trying to do is give people in New York enough information to make better decisions. This idea that the center of capitalism, New York City, is going to elect a socialist that wants to defund the police, eliminate opportunity, open up a city-run grocery store, is okay, is anti-Semitic. Socialism is horrible for everybody. So what we're trying to up here to do is just get people to think about this race and how bad it's going to be for New York City. Now, more people are going to move to Florida, right? More people are going to move to Ohio, right? But is it good for the people that are stuck in New York?
One second,
no,
Senator.
It's not good for the people.
Yeah, we have to just segue for a second here. Extremely important. Email is freedom@charliekirk.com. Stay right there. Senator Rick Scott, please continue and finish that thought.
Well, it's just that it's bad for our country that the center of capitalism has somebody that wants to get rid of the police. They're going to continue to make under socialism. New York City will be an impossible place other than for billionaires. What he's going to do on housing, he wants to put a cap on rent. Well, that means if you own the building, are you going to put any more capital in? So I lived in public housing growing up. Who grows up in public housing and say, boy, this is where I want to be the rest of our life, right? Public housing doesn't work so long term. And this place is going to become a disaster. It's going to be scary to be in New York City. And so I hope they come to their senses and elect a capitalist.
Vivek, it looks as if the odds-on favorite are that Zoran is going to win. Why is that? I mean, you are a political expert in some ways. You've run for president. You're going to be the governor of Ohio. What is the appealing element of Zoran Mamdani?
Well, look, you and I talked about this when you visited Ohio, Charlie, which was a great visit you had. I mean, I think that part of this is a wake-up call also for Republicans to understand we can't just sweep the issues he's talking about under the rug. It's that his solutions are completely harebrained. But you think about the affordability crisis, it is real, especially for a lot of young people. Think about home ownership getting outside the reach of being able to afford as a 30 or 35-year-old, even if you're working hard and playing by the rules. Is that a real problem? Yes, it is. But how are we going to fix it? It isn't through rent controls. It's through increasing the supply of housing, cutting through the red tape that stops new home construction, land use restrictions that stop new home construction. That's the kind of solutions that we need to be talking about. And so I do think it's a kind of wake-up call for Republicans. The same thing. What's the difference between the wealthy and everybody else? I mean, we're sitting here in New York City today, but across the country, including New York City, what's the difference between wealthy and anybody else? Whether you own an asset that compounds. You got to get that started at a young age. Young people are going to turn towards socialism if they feel like they don't have skin in the game, like they feel like they don't actually own assets that they watch somebody else becoming a billionaire off of. But the better solution to that is let's start with financial literacy. Let's start with parents putting away $10,000 in the S&P 500 at a young age. Every kid is going to be a millionaire if every parent does that for their kid on the day they're born. And is there a role for the government to play to potentially create incentives in that? I'm open to it. And so I think we got to think about the future of capitalism, which I embrace wholeheartedly. I think it's the best system known to the history of man to lift people up from poverty, and we shouldn't apologize for it. But how do we create capitalism that everybody's actually able to enjoy the upside of? And I think that increases our long-run commitments to capitalism rather than socialism. And that's the conversation we need to be having on the right as well. And so, you know, as Senator Scott said, we're here to inform people, hey, hopefully they can vote for the right person in the ballot box. But if not, inform them of alternatives. Come to Ohio. When I'm governor, frankly, you got a lot of conservative-minded, common sense, rational, patriotic people in New York. Yes, they do exist in big numbers. And many of them are going to, unfortunately, have to choose to leave. And I want them to come to places like Ohio, where I'm leading, hopefully, back to the leadership position of the country. But when we think about the country as a whole, one of our learnings as conservatives, as Republicans, is that we, too, ought to be talking about the affordability crisis because we're the ones that actually have the solutions to address it. But that's what we got to step up and do instead of just sweeping it under the rug, especially for young people who I think are really tuned into these questions of participating in the upside of capitalism and affordability, which I'm all in favor of.
So we have about a minute and a half here. Vivek, just give our audience a quick update. How are things going on your very important campaign in Ohio? And then I want to segue more to some tape here of Zoran.
Yeah, look, things are going well in Ohio. I'm running unopposed in the Republican primary, and what should be a red state, this is the cycle that solidifies whether Ohio is a red state or not. And I think that we want to permanently solidify that in the midterm year of Trump's second term. But one of the things I'm most focused on that's resonating is educational reform, bringing standards to our public schools. And frankly, Charlie, a lot of people, even who are independents, even former Democrats, are coming our way for that issue alone. So I'm excited on bringing some of those reforms, bring down property taxes while improving education. People in Ohio, thankfully, are loving that, and I'm hopeful we're going to be successful.
Stay right there. We have 30 seconds. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. I want to play some of this new tape. Zoran Mamdani is doing his magical rebrand tour right now. He's probably getting a little bit nervous that a late surge of common sense New Yorkers could displace him from the mayor's race, but that whole race is such a mess. You got Eric Adams, who he's just getting no traction. You got Andrew Cuomo, who's the worst. Zoran might be the next mayor of New York City. Stay right there.
100% American made. And darn proud of The Charlie Kirk Show.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com here at the bitcoin.com mobile studio. I want to tell you guys about Patriot Mobile. It's patriotmobile.com/Charlie. That is patriotmobile.com/Charlie. I realize there are many choices when it comes to who you choose for your cell phone service, and there are new ones popping up all the time. But here is the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for, and that is Patriot Mobile. Not only are they leading the way in the new red economy, but Patriot Mobile also outgains the competition when it comes to technology. Patriot Mobile is only one of three carriers with access to all three. There's one of the only carriers with access to all three major networks. That means exceptional national-wide coverage, along with ability to have multiple numbers on different networks. Go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie. That is patriotmobile.com/Charlie, or call 972-PATRIOT. Go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie or 972-PATRIOT. Let's go to this cut right here. This is Zoran Mamdani. He says he's a transformed man. Play cut 299.
Many of my opponents, chiefly Andrew Cuomo, would prefer to debate a mythical version of myself than the person that I actually am. They would prefer to focus on tweets from 2020 as opposed to the platform of 2025.
What you're really saying is that those tweets of 2020, you've evolved from that. You've changed from that. You've changed your views.
Yes, that those are out of step with the campaign that we are running. And it's been clear throughout.
But out of step with how you feel.
Yes.
So
yes.
You've totally changed your mind.
Yes.
Okay.
Senator Rick Scott, is he a changed man, Senator Scott?
What a joke. I mean, listen to what people say. I mean, this is what the guy believes. He believes in his heart. Oh, but it won't work for a campaign. He did a poll. That won't work for the campaign. So don't trust, don't worry about what I said before and how I've acted in my life. Look at what I'm running on, because that's all I want you to think about. Now I'll go back to where I really am as soon as I get elected. I mean, what a joke. Don't trust somebody like that. And by the way, if he can take, I love the police today, but I hated them yesterday, and you trust them, you have to be an idiot to believe that.
So Vivek, let's play another piece of tape here. Let's go to cut 305.
We've seen that Donald Trump use the law as a suggestion. He believes that it's something that he's above, and what he's showing is that he's willing to utilize any tool, whether those real or imagined, to try and shape this race. We are confident that no matter what formulation this race takes, whether it's me versus three candidates or me one-on-one with any one of them, we'll win the race. But what we cannot stand is the affront to democracy and the idea that it is the president who can pick the next mayor of the city and not the people of that same city.
Vivek, your response.
Well, look, I mean, he's using this to his advantage. He's clearly a skilled politician. He has a completely boneheaded wrong policy ideas, but he's trying to use everything in his favor to really goad the New York electorate into putting him into office. And frankly, that's the dominant odds of what's going to happen. But the bigger picture, forget the horse race of this particular mayoral election. I do think that sometimes, sadly, a country, a great nation like ours, needs to actually learn the lessons of what the alternative looks like. And unfortunately, if he is elected, which I'm not rooting for, but if he is elected, let us at least use it as a country to learn the lesson. The best way to combat the popularity of socialism is probably for people to try what the fruits of socialist policy really are. That's probably what's coming to New York City if he's elected. The good news is we still have our system of federalism. People can pack their bags and move. Like I said before, I'll say it again. We're going to make Ohio a haven for people who share the values of this country, including capitalism, to come thrive. But every once in a while, there comes a time where if people really lose their way, Thomas Jefferson said it well, the government we elect is the government we deserve. And if that's what New York City elects, then in some sense, it's a lesson that deserves to be learned for the country. And I hope some good still comes out of it. So I'm not rooting for that outcome, but if that's where we're headed, frankly, I don't think engineering some other alternative outcome is the answer. It's actually true learnings of the deep lessons underneath. And just think about the sad reality also that the entire country, I've even been meeting old friends in New York City who would have never voted for Andrew Cuomo in years, are now praying that it's Andrew Cuomo. I mean, look at where we are. He's a guy who got rid of cash bail. He's a guy who was opposed to fracking, who was against nuclear energy, and he is somehow the savior that everyone is praying and hoping for. Think about where we are and what that says about where New York City is, and in some measure, even where certain directions of our country's currents are headed. We got to turn that ship around in a bigger way, and I think it's going to be deeper than just, messing around with the horse racing of this particular election in one mayor of one city that matters. This is a symptom of a deeper issue in our country. And I think the only way we're going to get around it is reviving the ideals that made our country great the first time. Meritocracy, the pursuit of greatness, the rule of law, bring it back, don't apologize. That's who we are. And I think that's really the moral of the story at the end of this.
Senator Scott, final thoughts on Zohran Mamdani, who looks to continue to be on pace to be the next mayor of New York City.
I don't know one person that's moved from Venezuela that's a socialist. I don't know one person that's moved from Cuba and Florida that's a socialist. So people have lived under socialism. No, it's really bad. Now, ultimately, it only ends up in everybody being broke. And so if you want people to have the opportunity like Vivek had, I had, you had, to live our dream, it's all tied to capitalism. It's all tied to opportunity and freedom. So I hope New York comes to their senses. I hope this doesn't happen to them. But there's going to be bastions of opportunity, and that's going to be Ohio and Florida.
Senator Rick Scott and Vivek Ramaswamy, thank you so much, and keep up the great work. Thank you both.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks. See you. See you, Charlie.
The other component of the Mamdani thing is that he's a foreigner. He's obviously not an American. We've said that repeatedly on this program. And that ties into the second part of my trip to when I went to Japan. I think we can all agree that if 10 million Pakistanis went to Japan, they don't become Japanese. Japan is a very unique country, and objectively, Tokyo might have been the most impressive city I've ever visited. From how clean it is, from how seriously even the just everyday workers take their job. The bus drivers wear white gloves. They bow when you go on. They take their little jobs so seriously. But there is an effort underway in Japan, as there was a big effort underway in Europe and our country, to bring in a bunch of foreigners and to say, well, they're Japanese too. Japan could maybe assimilate 10 Pakistanis or 100 if they didn't take any more right away. But 1 million? And we know they're not assimilating at that point. And we saw a little bit, just a little bit in Tokyo, Mohammedan there, Mohammedan here. Like, ooh, that's interesting. I didn't know I was in Paris. I didn't know I was in London. But the point is this, and this ties with Zohran Mamdani. If you do not have a picture of national identity, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, America's picture of national identity is different than Japan's. Japan is tied to their ethnicity, and that's okay. It works for them, and it's unbelievably impressive. We have a different picture of national identity. We are, of course, a people and also a propositional nation. We're both. Japan is something different, though, and they should be allowed to be different. Japan is not a propositional nation. Japan is a people. They are an ethnicity. They are a genealogy. And it's worked incredibly well for them. They are one of the oldest and greatest cultures and civilizations. But isn't it just so striking, as you're looking at a picture of Tokyo right there, isn't it so striking that the globalist forces, they want to try to destroy any culture, any city that is working and functioning. So there's a major movement in Japan. It's called the Sanseido Party that is ascendant, and they are calling out the private, quiet infiltration of foreigners into Japanese society. And I'm cheering them on, because here I am as an American wanting Japan to remain Japanese. It would be a demerit for the planet. It would be a demerit for the world if all of a sudden Japan fell the same way that Paris fell. And they do things differently. They're not a Christian nation. They're a Shinto nation. They are one that has traditions in Japanese culture and the samurai and duty and honor. And I think that's awesome. In fact, dare I say, I actually want the diversity amongst nations. Our national identity changed after the second great immigration wave of the 1910s and 1920s, but we are still a nation founded on Christian European settlers with norms and customs and faith emanating from Western civilization, from Christian civilization. And you shouldn't want to change America, and you shouldn't want to change Japan, because we already know what has happened when you change Paris and you change London. National populism is a check against globalists. And we shouldn't go impose into Tokyo being like, well, Tokyo, you guys are too Asian. Let's just by the way, let's apply the left-wing framework. What's so interesting is, do you know they're calling Japanese racist for not wanting to take immigrants? Oh, you're racist because you don't want to take a bunch of Arabs in your country. You're racist because you don't want to take a bunch of Indonesians in your country. And Japanese are like, racist? What does this word even mean? What do you mean? It is a purely Western moral framework that we're overlaying against a multi-thousand-year great civilization. So here, we as Westerners, we can't help but be, somewhat colonialist and imperialist. So left-wing and imperialist colonist forces are coming in and scolding Japanese politicians for not taking immigration. And honestly, Japan does not want to commit political and cultural suicide, and we commend them for that. Japan should close its borders. Japan should say, nope, we're going to figure out our birth rate problem, which the Japanese birth rate problem is bad, but it's not as bad as Korea's. Left-wing colonialism equals open borders. It is a soft form of imperialism. And I saw it firsthand because the country works. It is an objectively functioning country. It is not South Africa. It is not Angola. It is not Bangladesh. You don't have to go in search of a solution. Like, well, we have major problems in Tokyo. And by the way, how often do you hear from politicians here in America, well, be very careful, we might end up like Japan. End up like Japan? You mean where you can ride the subway without being stabbed in the neck? Where everything works and the streets are clean and people are polite? Yes, Japan has issues. And I'm going to talk about that throughout the program, by the way, which is that there are problems in Asia that I'm glad that we actually have a different dynamism, a different energy, a different entrepreneurial spirit that you don't have there. And I think that's significantly lacking. But they have a stable, orderly, beautiful, lasting society. And that's a really important thing. And not only that, I felt welcome, I felt honored, I felt received. But we should keep Japan Japanese. And people say, well, Charlie, they have gun laws. Well, before they have gun laws, they have third world laws. You don't need all these gun laws if you don't. It's okay if everybody owns guns if you don't have a bunch of third worlders coming into your nation that don't abide them and then commit a lot of crimes. Stay right there. Email us freedom@charliekirk.com.
Hi, I'm Caleb, and this is my story. I was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, or brittle bone disease. I have broken my bones almost 200 times, and I have had 11 surgeries. But I didn't let that stop me. I love to bike ride, climb, race, and I'm learning how to stand and walk. But I can only do all of this because of generous people like you and Shriners Hospitals for Children.
And for the past 100 years, Shriners Children's has become family to millions of kids. But it's only possible because of people like you.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is only able to provide this world-class, life-changing medical care because of the generous gifts of people just like you.
Because of you, I can ride my bike. I can play basketball. Because of people like you, I can play the trombone. I can smile.
Will you send your love to the rescue today?
When you go online to loveshriners.org, you'll help make all of this possible for kids like me. Like me. Like me.
When you say yes to giving just $19 a month, only 63 cents a day, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a reminder of all the kids you're helping every day.
Your gift, no matter how small, can help a child today.
This is your moment to make a difference.
When you pick up your phone, I know you have it right there, and call to give. You're helping kids like me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, please call again or give right away at loveshriners.org.
Your gift makes a difference. Thank you for giving.
In spirit, you're listening to The Charlie Kirk Show.
Okay, everybody, our campus tour resumes on Wednesday. Let's go to cut 53, please. You guys know how it works. Open mic. We're going to be here for a couple hours, so get comfortable. So you would get rid of all borders. Yes. What species is the baby in the womb?
It's a human, but
therefore they should have human rights.
No!
Okay. He's a liar. You're a typical leftist because you only care about yourself, not about the other people. It's very clear by how you're acting. What can I do to save the country? You answer that question every single day. You are doing something that is bigger than you. A lot of people. How are we doing?
I'm on the move like a runaway. No turning back, I've been cut to pace. I do not care what the others say. Listen, I told you that I did not come to play. We about to take it to higher heights. History's waiting when I arrive. Today is a dawn of a new, and I'm about to show them that they cannot hold me down. When you win, then you learn from your losses. We came from the bottom and now we the bosses. The future is yours, so what will you choose? If you give it your all, you got nothing to lose.
Okay, everybody, that is the American Comeback Tour, AmericanComebackTour.com. Starting this Wednesday, let's go. Utah Valley University, September 10th. And then next week, I will be in Colorado at Colorado State University. And then we have University of Minnesota Twin Cities on September 22nd. And then we have Virginia Tech on the 24th. In between that, after that, I'll be debating at Dartmouth University. And then a Utah State University on September 30th. Montana State University on October 7th. October 9th is University of North Dakota. October 21st is Indiana University. October 27th is LSU. October 29th is Ole Miss. And more to be announced. That is just a little teaser. And, Dartmouth College. I'm sorry, Blake. Yeah, I have to correct. It's not Dartmouth University. It's Dartmouth College. Oh, yes. They take themselves so seriously. So what I shouldn't do is I shouldn't be like, it's great to be here at the University of Dartmouth. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. I want to see you at our campus tour. Tickets are free, AmericanComebackTour.com. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. We're here at the Bitcoin.com studio. Japan has a high trust society. So does South Korea. And they do not have a massive influx of foreigners that are constantly changing and eroding the trust structure. Now, in Japan, not only are they tough on crime, they have the death penalty, and their jails are really intense. And one of the aspects that I think that was so telling of the entire trip is that it shows that we in America have actually done the hard things, but it's the very simple things. Crime is not hard to solve. You just have to stand up to the Democrat, soft on crime, open prison reform nonsense. You need political willpower, to be perfectly honest with you. And far too often, we, as Americans, we put up with stuff we shouldn't. Now, the left say, well, gun laws are why Asia is so safe. Now, mind you, I'm not even getting into the fact that the no gun crime. How does the left then explain the no muggings, the no stabbings, the no graffiti, the no homeless, and the no bums? How do you explain that? Let me tell you right now, Japan has no lack of knives. You go to any sushi restaurant, they're everywhere. And they say, well, strict gun laws equal nice stuff and no crime. It is a complete misnomer. No, they have high trust society is what they have. Anyway, so let's go to another thing here. I think we might have another piece of tape here. Okay, we don't have it. So coming back also from this trip. Okay, let's play cut 285. Okay, everybody, I'm here in Seoul, South Korea. As you can see, everyone, they have these like inflatable cushy chairs. Everyone is reading. This would last about 35 seconds in most American cities. You can have nice stuff. Crime is a choice. We shouldn't put up with it. South Korea doesn't. We shouldn't either. This video really bothered the left. It went completely viral, and they said, oh, the cushy chairs are there because they have gun crime. No, it's actually nothing to do with gun crime at all, actually. It's that they have a high-trust society. They don't have a city that is littered with third-world foreigners. They don't put up with homeless people, and they don't put up with crime. They have community. They have people that trust each other. They speak the same language, actually. Unlike our nation, we're a country increasingly of foreigners. I mean, of gun control, not gun crime. It's not an issue of gun control. And the other takeaway when it comes to a high-trust society is you must have a serious picture of national identity. We do not have a picture of, and it's, again, I'm not saying it's racial. It is racial in South Korea and Japan. They've decided to govern that way, and it's actually a really nice place to live. I'm not even prescribing that to the United States of America. We have a different mission statement. We are both a people and a proposition. Some people don't like that we're a proposition, but part of our national compact is propositional. It's not simply just a people. But if you are only a propositional people and you are not a people at all, if you're just a proposition and not a people, you don't have a nation. If you're just an idea, I used to believe this garbage like 10 years ago. America is just an idea. Not true. By the way, let's just put 312 B-roll. These are just pictures of luggage sitting unattended outside convenience stores in South Korea. Let me show this to you. Do you think this has anything to do with gun control? People just leave their stuff out and open outside of a convenience store in South Korea. Look at that. You just leave your luggage. You're going to go shopping, you just leave your stuff. No one's going to take it. Literally, we were at the South Korea airport, and Blake and I walked around. I was like, Blake, where's your bag? He's like, oh, I left it at the airport. I left it at the gate. So what do you mean? He's like, yeah, no one's going to take it. You just leave your stuff laying around. Does gun control have anything to do with that? Is that having to do with gun control to the American left? No. It's about a high-trust society. You just leave your bags around. No one cares. It's just because no one's going to take it. It's a civilized society. We could live this way. We decide not to. We decide to live in this high crime-infested, violent, third world place. And again, we are the greatest nation ever, but this is a problem. We shouldn't have to live when it comes to crime. These are basic quality of life issues where you can just have a big roller bag and be like, yep, I'm just going to leave it out here. I don't need to guard it. They don't have an attendant. They don't have a security guard. They have one thing that we do not have. They have a high trust society, and we should try to restore it. Second hour coming up.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing. There's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 Steam Cleaning System, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 Steam Mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Real America's Voice News Break. I'm Terrence Bates. Thanks so much for being here with us. Lose fat, tighten skin, and reboot your metabolism. It worked for the gentleman I'm getting ready to introduce you to with the help of Energized Health.
Oh, hold on. What did you start at?
307 pounds. Now I'm at like 185. 2.1% skeletal muscle. All the skin is tightening up. That's the beautiful thing. The science is really legit. You just follow the program. And scientifically, you can't fail. It's just impossible.
Let's bring in the founder of Energized Health, John Jubilee. John, come on, 307 to 185? Come on, man.
Brother, Terrence, think about that for a minute. That's 122 pounds. 122 pounds. If you ever watch the Kentucky Derby on television or a famous horse race, that's more weight than those jockeys weigh that are riding those horses. He lost a human. Yeah. Out of his body. And look, Terrence, when he showed that bicep, there's no bat wings on there. There's no fat skin wiggling under there. That dude's skin is tight as a drum. Tight skin at 122 pounds of fat loss, Terrence. That is so different, than when you see these people, like there was just a big special on Netflix on The Biggest Loser. And Terrence, those people that would lose 122 pounds, they would go and have to cut off 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, Terrence, of skin. They'd have to have skin surgeries to have the excess skin removed. But there's a scientific reason that our clients at Energized Health never need a skin surgery, and it's because when you gain hydration and you gain lean muscle, you become the healthy raisin, or the healthy grape, not the unhealthy raisin, right? So all those people on The Biggest Loser, Terrence, they're like an unhealthy raisin. Their skin's all shriveling up, so they got to get it all chopped off. But when you do it the right way, get healthy at the cellular level, your muscles are lean and ripped. Your skin is tight and firm like a 17-year-old high school boy.
And you're saying this is really all about hydrating at the cellular level. We talk about it all the time, but it's really getting beyond the skin, beyond the surface, the epidermis. You didn't know I knew that term, but really getting into the cellular level.
That's it. That's exactly what it is. It is the game changer. It's the right way. listen, everybody knows when we do a diet, we don't feel good. We don't feel right. You might do a diet, you might lose some weight, but you lose your energy with it. You lose your vibrancy. You lose your glow. There's a lot of people, Terrence, they'll go on a diet and people say, do you have cancer? Are you sick? Because they don't even look healthy because they're not doing it the healthy way. But when you have the breakthrough science of intracellular hydration, you have a healthy glow to your skin, you have the brightness in your eyes, your mental acuity is firing. And we're so, listen, Terrence, this guy is just a representation of tens of thousands of other people. And I hope he's a bright light of encouragement today, to the listeners today that say, hey, wait a minute, if that guy could do that, I only need to lose 5 pounds. I only need to lose 20 pounds. That dude could lose 122 pounds. I can certainly succeed at what I want to do.
But there's so many things that go into this sort of change through your system. It's not just about losing fat. It's not just about losing weight. You're able to kind of reconstruct your metabolism. And there's so many other bodily functions that seem to go hand in hand with this change.
Yeah, Terrence, this is a fully medically approved program. So this isn't, like something that, off the internet, that 175,000 diets that are just on the internet. No, this is a fully medically grade, medically approved program. People can use their FSA, their HSA. They could use Care Credit because it is a fully medically approved, backed program. Hundreds of doctors are our clients, Terrence, and the doctors say, you guys cracked the code. You guys figured out how to go to the root cause of inflammation, of disease, how to reverse it, and cause that metabolism to reset like a 17-year-old.
EnergizedHealth.com. You can go there for more answers.
How does the world's most trusted dog expert keep his own dog so healthy?
Hi, I am Cesar Milan. In my 20 years rehabilitating dogs, I've seen too many struggle with health problems that no amount of training could fix. Then I discovered it wasn't the dog, it was their food. Fortunately, I found veterinarian Dr. Marty's Anti-Kibble Breakthrough.
Nature's Blend is packed with whole foods that are freeze-dried, locking in nutrients.
I saw remarkable improvements in my dogs within weeks.
Try Dr. Marty risk-free for 90 days. Plus, get a free gift when you call or visit drmartypets.com/Caesar.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. And we're here at the Bitcoin.com studio. Joining us now is Megan Basham, author of Shepherds for Sale and Daily Wire culture reporter. Megan, I'm so glad to have you on here. You live in Charlotte, where the killing of Irina Zarutska occurred, who was an incredible person, a Ukrainian refugee, comes to America and was murdered in cold blood for no reason, a senseless killing by a black person. If a random white person simply walked up to and stabbed a nice, law-abiding black person for no reason, it would be an apocalyptically huge national story used to impose national sweeping political changes on the whole country. Instead, Megan Basham, no one seems to care when a white woman gets stabbed to her death. Why is that?
Yeah, that was pretty shocking to go, for 2 weeks now, none of our major media outlets have covered her at all, not one word. They finally started to cover her a little bit this morning, but only because of the massive public shaming, because this video was so very shocking. And what I really want to emphasize here, Charlie, is that this is not a dangerous part of town where Zarutska was killed. It's a very lovely, popular part of town, bustling restaurants, trendy restaurants, boutiques. My family and I go there frequently on the weekend. So this was an area where you will see families on the weekend. She's a young woman, 23 years old, a refugee, getting off work at a pizzeria and gets onto that light rail. So, the initial reaction of our Democrat mayor was appalling. She said that she didn't mention Irina Zarutska at all in her initial statement. Instead, what she called for was compassion for the perpetrator, who she said is suffering from mental illness just like cancer or heart disease. So we're supposed to have empathy for him as some sort of victim. And she said that we cannot arrest our way to safety, which is, of course, ridiculous. Yes, we can. If we put people behind bars when they're a public threat, we can have safe public streets. But, just to go a little bit more into the weeds on this, I want to let you know that our current governor, who was then Attorney General, his response has also been appalling. So back in 2020, within 2 weeks of George Floyd's murder, he had not only issued public lament. Well, I think at this point we can say it was not a murder, but he issued public lament over George Floyd's death, and instituted a new task force for racial equity in criminal justice system. So he initiated an entire task force for George Floyd's death, but it took him longer to acknowledge Irina Zarutska's death. It took him 2 more days than it did to acknowledge George Floyd, even though this happened in his own state where he is governor. So if you look back at what that task force that he implemented in 2020 did, they specifically called for more lenient pre-release policies, meaning they wanted low bail or no bail for minority offenders. They also called for decriminalizing homelessness and quote unquote public behavior, meaning being a public menace on the streets. So these were the very policies that allowed this perpetrator, DeCarlos Brown, to be on the streets. He did, in fact, receive pretrial release back in January on his most recent arrest, because he's been arrested 14 times before, including for grand larceny and breaking and entering and assault with a deadly weapon. And almost every time he has been released and given fines and community service and probation. He has not been behind bars where he belongs. And so these were the direct policies that came out of that racial equity task force.
I have so many questions here. So let me just ask a micro question. Has this been talked a lot about in local communities in Charlotte, North Carolina? Are people understanding the racial element here, that a random black guy murdered a white woman? Is it shocking the community? Walk us through what's happening locally here, because I would imagine it should be.
Yeah, I think it is. One of the things you're hearing is that this was a light rail that we all felt perfectly safe using just a few years ago, and we don't feel that way anymore. Because of these policies, you are suddenly seeing an increase in homelessness in the Charlotte area. We came here in 2016, and when we first got here, you really didn't see panhandlers, public disturbances on the street. You see that now when you go into our uptown metro areas. And so I think so many people are feeling that. And when you look at the increasing rates of crime in Charlotte, you can trace it back to 2020. So our last homicide high was in 2020 when the Black Lives Matter riots were occurring on our streets. And the second high of homicide rates in Charlotte were now 2024. So we don't have it for 2025 yet. But for 2024, when they were up 25% from the year before, when these racial equity policies started taking effect. So yes, I think people are very much waking up to the fact that, all of these sort of Black Lives Matter, DEI pushed policies are having a direct impact on our safety, because the argument was, for the sake of racial equity, we need to not jail Black offenders. We need to give them fines and probation. And look, Charlie, this guy's mother, DeCarlos Brown's own mother, tried to get him involuntarily committed. She has said he was not safe to be on the streets, and she actually tried to do something because she knew he was a threat. And instead, we have a criminal justice system here that was sold out to social justice instead of actual justice.
So now I want to transition to the Christian element here. So you have a great book, Shepherds for Sale. You've also called out all the wokeism stuff. Has Stephen Furtick, whatever his name is, spoken out against this? Because he was really big, Elevation Church, big BLM guy about George Floyd. Has Stephen Furtick, the popular megachurch pastor, has he spoken out against the black criminal who killed a white woman on a bus? Because he's in Charlotte.
You know, I haven't specifically checked on what Stephen Furtick has said, but it feels like if he did speak out, that would certainly be something making news in our area. And I have heard nothing about that. In fact, I have heard nothing from many of the
weird. That's strange.
Yes, from the social justice pastors who are very popular in this area. Derwin Gray is another. I have heard nothing from him. And so you have so many of these church leaders who got on board with Black Lives Matter. They got on board with these DEI policies, and now they have suddenly very much backed away from quote unquote political issues now that we're starting to see the fruit of what these policies have borne. And it is actually the innocent citizens of North Carolina who are bearing the brunt of these policies.
Why is it that pastors were so quick to talk about the drug overdose of George Floyd, but they won't talk about this?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious why. You know, at that time, there was a desire to curry favor with the progressive wing, to be winsome. And so that's why they really want to appeal to the, I would say, the elite class of our society. And when they look at the elite class, they see the New York Times, the Atlantic, CNN, and those are the people who they want plaudits and applause from. And so those are the people that they will go out and appeal to. And yet, when you see crimes like this, where this, horrific stabbing of an innocent young woman who came here from a war-torn country, and it actually turns out she probably would have been safer in her war-torn country than in a large American city, they go very, very quiet because that is not appealing to that particular urban upper-class professional that they want to appeal to. So suddenly, we had so much politics from these people prior to Donald Trump's election in 2025, and now we hear nothing from them. Now it's, let's not politicize the pulpit, even though, this is a moment for pastors to speak into, because you have a community that is hurting, that is scared, and they want to know, what are some of the answers to this kind of pain. And look, the Bible does have answers about justice. If a man like this had been incarcerated and punished as he should have been when he initially broke into people's houses, when he committed armed robbery, when he committed assault with a deadly weapon, then he wouldn't have been on the streets to commit these crimes. But they don't talk about those elements of biblical wisdom that tell us that the government exists to terrorize the unrighteous and the wicked, not to ensure that the innocent can be terrorized. And that's exactly what's happened in this situation.
I'm going to send a tweet to Mr. Furtick, whatever his name is, in the break. Megan Basham, stay right there. AlanJacksonMinistries.com. Go to AlanJackson.com/Charlie. It's AlanJacksonMinistries.com. We're honored to be partnering with Alan Jackson Ministries. And today I want to point you to their podcast. It's called the Culture and Christianity Podcast, the Alan Jackson Podcast. What makes it unique is Pastor Alan's biblical perspective. He takes the truth from the Bible and applies it to the issue we're facing today: gender confusion, abortion, immigration, Doge, Trump, and the White House, and the issues in the church. The Culture and Christianity Podcast is informative and encouraging, and you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Alan Jackson Ministries is working hard to bring biblical truth back into our culture. Go to AlanJackson.com/Charlie. That is AlanJackson.com/Charlie. AlanJackson.com/Charlie. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. So just to repeat, the largest pastor in Charlotte, North Carolina is a guy by the name of Stephen Furtick. He's got tens of millions of followers on social media. He posted endlessly about George Floyd, endlessly. And yet he has not had a single tweet of a murder in his own city. It's really weird, isn't it? He was really upset about a drug overdose of a black guy in Minneapolis, but not a murder of a white woman in his own town. Be right back.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing, there's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Researchers than the CDC. Yeah, may not be saying much. It's the Charlie Kirk Show.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. I want to tell you guys about yrefy.com. That is yrefy.com. YRefi is incredible. Private student loan debt in America totals about $300 billion. YRefi is refinancing distressed or defaulted private student loans. You can finally take control of your student loan situation with a plan that works for your monthly budget. Go to yrefy.com. That is yrefy.com. Do you have a co-borrower? YRefi can get them released from the loan. You can skip a payment every 6 times, up to 12 times without penalty. It may not be available in all 50 states. Go to yrefy.com. That is yrefy.com. Let's face it, if you have distressed or defaulted student loans, it can be overwhelming. Because of private student loan debt, so many people feel stuck. Go to yrefy.com. That is yrefy.com. Private student loan debt relief, yrefy.com. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. That is, again, the Charlie Kirk Show podcast is doing quite well. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. Stay right there. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. How's your health doing, Megan? I know you've been fighting some serious stuff. Give us an update if you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for asking. So I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer last Thanksgiving and, went through some rough treatment. But post that, I have been declared no evidence of disease, praise God. So we're just continuing to pray for no recurrence. And, now I get the fun part of being told I need to put weight back on. So, I'm enjoying life.
I want that. That would be a dream kind of prescription from a go-to In-N-Out burger. I could do that quite well. And we have lots of them here out west. So, Megan, you wrote this amazing book, Shepherds for Sale, all about how our pastors are selling themselves out to the highest bidder. On this racial issue, though, I know you've mentioned it. It's so frustrating because, again, we have a catalog of the current kind of Christian ruling class of what they did. Carl Lentz, who's obviously been disgraced. George Floyd should be alive. It's not acceptable to kill him, blah, blah, blah. Stephen Furtick. This is what Stephen Furtick said. He said, quote, he said, if you only post a simple prayer emoji and scroll on, we need to challenge the system and sickness that created and enabled the death of George Floyd. I am part of the problem, is what Stephen Furtick said. I mean, I could go through the list of just the nauseating Christian leaders, and what is it getting better, and how do we call out this from some of our Christian authorities?
I don't know if I would say it's getting better. I haven't seen any of this leadership come out and say, what, we were wrong. And they were wrong because what they did was accept false narratives that we had a policing system in our country that disfavored Black Americans. And that's simply not true. The data does not show that. And so they were backers of policies that have now made us more unsafe and have led to incidents like the death of Irina Zarutska. And so what I have found mostly is that no one's really coming out and repenting of that. They're just trying to sweep it all under the rug and pretend like it never happened. I mean, look, I want to be clear. The president of the largest Protestant denomination in the U.S., the Southern Baptist Convention, told Southern Baptists that they needed to use the phrase Black Lives Matter, that they needed to lend that support to a Marxist organization that was trying to dismantle police systems. So there has been, a real cost to that. They were out marching with these people. And now we see what that ideology and that policy has brought. I mean, we can see it in Chicago. We can see it in D.C. prior to a couple of weeks ago. And we see it even in previously very safe cities like Charlotte, where the homicide rate has exploded. So as we look at this, it's really frustrating to me to see some of these pastors trying to pretend like they weren't a part of that. In fact, what you're kind of seeing them do now is reposition themselves, and they're using more conservative language. I have seen that. I can give you the example of someone like that as former SBC president, Pastor J.D. Greer, who pastors a large church here in North Carolina. He was very much a part of backing social justice and Black Lives Matter. And now he's suddenly using more conservative language, but he's not acknowledging the part that he played in that. And that's what I'm seeing again and again is that, I think they know that there's egg on their face. But because of that, what they're doing is just trying to, they're calling it the Great Rehab Tour. They're all going on their Great Rehab Tours to sort of pretend like, hey, we weren't a part of that. And you will not hear them talk about Black Lives Matter or social justice anymore, even though they were so instrumental in promoting that movement back in 2020.
I think you're right. And it shows that we've made a lot of progress, but we still have yet a lot of work to do. And so the Christian world, I know, is becoming more center-right. It's becoming better on this. Not every pastor has to comment on every issue. The reason why Stephen Furtick is necessary is that it's happened in his hometown. Right. And so he felt necessary to call out George Floyd overdosing on drugs in the streets of Minneapolis, but something that happened in his own city. And that is inescapably biblical. It says that your city matters, your nation matters, your hometown matters, and the welfare of such. Final thoughts, Megan Basham, author of Shepherds for Sale.
Well, yeah, and I really want to point out that when they did that, it didn't have no impact. They gave aid and comfort to a deceitful, destructive movement. And so those policies that came out of that deceitful, destructive movement are exactly what are making our cities unsafe right now. And that is why we are seeing things like young women being murdered on a light rail train just when they're trying to get off work and go about their business, because we dishonestly bought into something that was simply popular at the time. And that compromise comes with costs. And we're seeing that now.
Irina Zarutska would be alive. 14 times this guy was arrested. Felony larceny, aggravated assault with a weapon. Megan Basham. Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. We'll be right back, everybody. Subscribe to our podcast. Alex Marlow next.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes in as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home. So we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, "Hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm. Please send me more." And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger. This is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work for yourself after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
Welcome back to this Real America's Voice News Break. I'm Terrence Bates. President Trump continues to stand up for religious liberty. During a meeting with members of the White House Religious Liberty Commission at the Museum of the Bible this morning, the commander-in-chief delivered remarks saying that we have to bring back religion in America. He also announced having donated his family Bible to the museum in order to be put on display. But arguably most importantly, he used the stage to support students practicing their faith at school.
In many schools today, students are instead indoctrinated with anti-religious propaganda, and some are even punished for their religious beliefs, and very, very strongly punished. It's ridiculous. I'm pleased to announce this morning that the Department of Education will soon issue new guidance protecting the right to prayer in our public schools, and it's total protection.
And speaking of faith, the president attributes the 2 failed assassination attempts against him to God's protection. Jury selection in the case of the man accused of trying to assassinate then presidential candidate Donald Trump is underway as we speak. Ryan Ruth's trial is off to a bit of a rocky start, though, as the judge overseeing the case is banning him from asking a number of politically charged questions of the potential jurors. Ruth is representing himself in the case despite having little to no legal training. He's accused of trying to kill Mr. Trump while he golfed in Florida last September. Federal Judge Aileen Cannon has blocked off 4 weeks for the upcoming trial, even though prosecutors don't expect it to last that long. The 59-year-old has pleaded not guilty to attempting to assassinate a major presidential candidate, assaulting a federal officer, and several firearms violations. At least 5 people are dead, 12 more hurt after terrorists opened fire on a bus stop in Jerusalem and send people running for their lives, as you can see in this video. Hamas is applauding the attack but not claiming responsibility at this point. In the meantime, the Israeli military has reportedly surrounded Palestinian villages on the outskirts of the nearby city of Ramallah in response to the attack. As for the shootings, police say a security officer and a civilian at the scene are said to have shot and killed the attackers. It all went down at a busy intersection in North Jerusalem. That's a quick check of your headlines.
Relentless in spirit. You're listening to The Charlie Kirk Show.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. Let's see what we have here. My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is incredible. September is National Preparedness Month, so it's the perfect time to ask yourself questions like, how much food do you have on hand for emergencies? And how would you get clean water if the tap went dry tomorrow? What would you do if a storm knocked out the power for a week? If you're anything like me, there's some room for improvement on this stuff. Luckily, our friends at My Patriot Supply are making disaster preparedness easier and more affordable than ever. Go to mypatriotsupply.com by giving you over $1,500 worth of emergency food and preparedness for free. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. They just launched their Preparedness Month Mega Kit and includes a full year of emergency food, a water filtration system, and all the other stuff you need. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. That is mypatriotsupply.com for full details. mypatriotsupply.com/KIRK. Alex Marlow is with us. Alex Marlow is the editor-in-chief of Breitbart News, Breitbart.com. Alex, great to see you. The terrible news of Irina Zarutska getting stabbed in the neck and the silence from the media. I mean, you've done a great job of covering the media throughout the years. This was an intentional cover-up campaign by not covering this at all from the major media networks. Yet George Floyd dies. Everyone covers this relentlessly, tens of thousands of articles a day. Alex Marlow, your thoughts?
Yeah, Charlie, you couldn't have scripted this. I mean, it felt like this story was out of 15 years ago or something, that the media wasn't covering it after all of this purported hand-wringing that's been going on, that they've been really looking themselves in the mirror, see where they've gone wrong, why the media is the least trusted industry of any industry in America. And then they have the easiest opportunity ever to get a little bit of credibility just by writing up the biggest story in America. And they won't even write it. They won't put one column inch into it in the New York Times and the Washington Post. Completely ridiculous, but it's something that we all could have seen coming, and it just shows you what we discussed on your show like 5 days ago, Charlie. This is shaping up to be a law and order election. The next election, as of now, it's a long ways off. Law and order is the number one topic. And you could see a guy been arrested 14 times, a Ukrainian refugee out of nowhere. There's no context for it at all. There's no provocation at all. There's video of it. This is the nightmare for the left so long as we get the word out, and that's why the media covered it up.
And yeah, talk more about this. So let's go a level deeper here, Alex, because how do these newsrooms operate? Because what we are articulating is a conspiracy. We are articulating a silence conspiracy of media networks that intentionally do not cover it. How does this work in practice? Is there a group chat where they say, no, we're not going to do it? Obviously, I think that's unlikely. But is it also that they just have a narrative that they're trying to accomplish, and they all know the goal? Because when you have a dozen outlets MSNBC, New York Times, BBC, Wall Street Journal, ABC, CBS, NBC, boom, 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 boom. And they all technically have different owners and different editors and different reporters, and not one covers this story. What's going on here? How do they harmonize with such incredible efficiency?
Yeah, they're so coached up, and they've been coached up for decades on this. And you've been so kind to promote all my books lately. But my first book, Breaking the News, which I wrote about 4 years ago, I tracked this. It's all corporatism. It's all about that the corporate boardrooms of all these media companies are controlled by people who want Democrats elected. They see that they're the true oligarchs. You're Bernie Sanders talking about oligarchs. These are the real oligarchs. And the problem is you cover stories like this, and it looks bad for the left because they want to talk about George Floyd, where there's no element of racism that was involved at all, and they treated it like that was the biggest racial hate crime of all time, even though George Floyd was on drugs and was resisting arrest. So then you have an example like this, where you see a black guy stabbing a white woman for no reason. How else could you view this other than as racism if we looked at the world through the lens of the establishment left? And so they know if they cover this clear example of racism, then that nullifies times 100 any of the George Floyd coverage they've already done. So they can't cover it. They have to ignore it and hope it just goes away, because to cover it reveals that they've been lying to us the whole time, which they have been.
And so the incentive structure of the media is so broken, and we've been waiting for their collapse, and they're not quite collapsed, but they're definitely in a situation of decay, you could say. The right-wing world online has been largely covering this and has been kind of keeping it alive. Why did this become a bigger story just because of the video? What about the video was so animating? Because it was very interesting. I was in Japan and South Korea, and someone in Japan mentioned, hey, Charlie, you hear what happened to the Ukrainian girl in America? I said, yeah, didn't that happen 2 weeks ago? Because I actually saw the story when it originally happened. I said, a Ukrainian refugee. They said, no, it just happened. And actually, it didn't just happen. It happened 2 weeks ago. Just the video was just out there. Can we get the still image of this, though, just on screen for dramatic effect? Alex Marlowe.
Yeah, so first of all, to your first point, I think it's really important to note that the incentive structure, you use the word incentive structure, these media companies all lose money. They all lose money. And that's why they stay in business, because they protect the corporate status quo. You take a company like ABC, which is part of ABC Disney. So the ABC News can lose money because they're protecting brands like the Disney brand, which can make a lot of money through theme parks and through movies and through streaming and stuff like that. So ABC exists to cover for the Disney brand. NBC, Comcast, Universal. NBC News loses money. NBC News is designed to keep the NBC, Comcast, Universal, that entire structure afloat. And if you look at their board, it's all top Democrat donors and people who are fat and happy living off of America's largesse. And those are the type of people who are being protected by these newsrooms. That's why they don't do stuff like report on China accurately, because there's no incentive to, because their corporations all make money off of China. You look at New York Times' boardroom, it's all people who are AIG and Facebook and all these executives from all these other major corporations. And once you see that, then you understand what they're choosing to cover and what they're not choosing to cover. So, but to your point about the video shows the innocence of it. This is public transportation, small white blonde girl, and a black guy who's in a rage out of nowhere, no provocation at all, no interaction at all. The clear nature of, I'm seeing this person, I'm taking out all of the rage I've ever had in my life on her like that. And that it's unequivocal because of the video evidence. There's no way to spin it. There's no way to act like there's any sort of a justification or explanation for it. And that does make it all the more powerful.
Alex, there's another, I want to shift gears here a second. I think that's the right analysis. There's a new poll out, according to NBC News. Steve Kornacki released it. From men who voted for Trump versus women who voted for Harris. Men who voted for Trump, they asked what was the important to personal definition of success. 34% of men who voted for Trump believe having children is more important than anything else, even more important than financial independence and a fulfilling job and career. For women who voted for Harris, 51%, the most important thing for them, having a fulfilling job and career. The last thing, the least important thing for women who voted for Harris is having children. This is like a bombshell, shocking thing. We knew that some of this existed, but we did not know it was this dramatic. The last thing, the least important thing for them is having children. Having children is right there at 6%. Being married is 6%, at the very bottom of the poll. I guess it's technically second to last because fame and influence is the last, but based on what I was looking at. Alex Marlow, what explains this? Why do so many Democrat women want to die alone?
Yeah, it is remarkable, and they've all been coached up, and it's the way that we've run our institutions, from our culture to our media to the way things are promoted online. You look at your favorite female podcast host, aside from the great right-wing political ones, but if it's not a right-wing political show hosted by a female, they probably got an episode on why I waited to have kids or why I don't need a man. All of that stuff happens all the time, and it's getting through to people who look out on the world and they feel like, well, it sounds very expensive to have kids. It sounds very hard, and all of these cultural inputs are saying that you're going to be less happy. And the left tries to deny our biology constantly. It explains the whole trans phenomenon. They teach people to deny their biology nonstop. Just look at the whole what we witnessed last week with Robert Kennedy. All these people who deny science, trying to lecture him on science. That is the nature of the world that we're living in. And telling women to not have kids clearly has had an effect on some people. But there has been a backlash, and you're seeing that in the positive side of this poll, which are young men who are seeing more than ever having children is a positive. That is a complete rebuke of the system, which is telling young men that what you need to do is you need to play the field. You need to be free to be able to sow your wild oats or whatever. That was the environment I grew up in, Charlie. But there's been people like you, people like me, who are out there saying, actually, it's really rewarding to get married and have a family and have children. That's the best thing you can do. Clearly, that message is getting through. So there's a huge level of positivity with the men. But the women, I feel bad for them right now because they're getting lied to by everyone.
Yeah, and again, so it's just more about the poll. So women who voted for Kamala Harris, liberal women, they were asked what are the top 3 things to rank them, and they didn't even have to consider kids and marriage being top 3. Let me just read the entire poll. This goes to show why liberal women are so unhappy, why so many liberal women are on antidepressants, why so many liberal women are just neurotic and just so unattractive to young men. Because their number one thing is fulfilling job and career, then having the money to do things you want, having emotional stability. This hyper narcissistic. Liberal women inherently are incredibly narcissistic. Fulfilling job and career, having money that you want. What's the number one thing for men? Men want children. Now, what's amazing is that conservative women too, Trump voting women did not put children as a top 5 goal. This is a problem that transcends political lines. This is again, it's way worse, obviously, on the left, but it's still bad on the right. And It's the men who want kids. It's the men who want children. It's the men who want marriage. Again, we have a minute remaining here. What are the implications of this for our politics, Alex Marlow?
Yeah, we need a rejection of modern feminism, which has told women that you'll be happiest if you act like a man. And this is something that is not true. I think they all know it's not true. But there's also the problem, which is that life is expensive and people want to make money as much as possible. And so thus they will maybe tell themselves that I'll be happiest if I focus on that and not on family. But the focus has to be on family, and you have to use that to drive you to create a family unit that creates a lot of success. So we just need to keep the positive messages coming in as much as we can control it, Charlie, and pray that it gets through to as many people as possible.
Alex Marlow is author of Breaking the Law. That is Breaking the Law. I have so much more to say about this. It's just a shocking poll. And again, this is bad civilizationally, everybody, where women who voted for Harris, the least important thing, second least important thing, is having children. It's bad news. That is a hyper narcissistic generation of women that will have a lot of cats, a lot of antidepressants, a lot of wine, and no children. Right? They follow their leader. Kamala Harris has no biological children. Stay right there, Alex Marlow. What do we have, guys? Oh. Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. Do me a favor, take out your phone and subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. I now know what I think we should invest in. I think that a high growth industry in the next 10 years will be veterinarians. I think we should invest. What is a good veterinarian stock? Or like a harbor away my dog stock? Find that for me. That will be a growth industry. Be right back.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it, Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product, so I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing, there's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Future of America, and the future is bright. Here is Charlie Kirk.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. Alex, why don't you plug your book here? We have about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to do a final segment here. So this will be our last segment together. Alex, plug your book, other things you're working on at Breitbart.com.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. Very relevant today because with the E. Jean Carroll ruling from the Second Circuit, the most absurd lawfare case that I document in Breaking the Law with the cruel and unusual punishment at the end, I think the Supreme Court is going to throw out at a minimum the punishment here. But this was all cooked up by Reid Hoffman and by George Conway to try to get Trump, embarrass him before the election. So lawfare lives on. It is the biggest threat right now to the MAGA movement. They're working night and day to try to make Trump's life difficult and try to make whoever falls in his footsteps, Charlie, people like you and me, make our lives very, very difficult so that we can't operate in this space without getting harassed by the legal system.
What was the E. Jean Carroll state? I saw a little news on that. Just a minute, riff on that for a second, Alex.
Yeah. So Trump is appealing basically on the same grounds of the Letitia James verdict, which was the penalty was thrown out for being cruel and unusual, which I predicted in Breaking the Law because the Eighth Amendment, which it was. Similar thing happened with E. Jean Carroll. That was the one where Trump allegedly raped her in a Bergdorf Goodman. The case is completely absurd, start to finish. I got a big thread on my X feed. If people want to go over there and check that out, you can read all the details. They're hilariously absurd. And she asked for $15 million, and the judge rewarded her $90 million. Why? No one knows. But Trump tried to get that thrown out, and the Second Circuit upheld it, but it'll go to the Supreme Court, and I think it'll die there.
Alex Marlow, author of Breaking the Law. Great to see you, my friend. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Charlie.
Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. The Charlie Kirk Show podcast page is where you could download a couple episodes. Right now, we are number 8 in Apple News, which is really great considering we didn't do an episode on any breaking news for about 4 or 5 days because of my trip to Asia. We're number 9. We just went back one slot, which is okay. It's Megyn, Tucker, and Charlie Kirk Show, top 3 conservative podcasts out there. I'll take it. Megyn is a great person. Tucker's phenomenal. And that's a 1-2-3 combo. Boom, boom, boom. Megyn, Tucker, Charlie Kirk Show. Subscribe to our podcast. We'll be right back. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. This poll from NBC News is remarkable. And we know this, and this is a fact. Liberal women are less happy and more lonely. What's funny is when you say this to liberal women, they scream at you that they're super happy, and it's so obvious that they're not. Quote, young liberal women are especially prone nowadays to reporting poor mental health. This was the discovery that Zach Goldberg made almost 5 years ago, poring over Pew data in the spring of 2020. Further research in 2022 found that depression has surged among liberal high school girls in the last decade, and only about half as much so amongst other high schoolers, especially conservatives. And the hatred of Donald Trump fills the void for so many of these people. And coming back from Asia, I could tell you, you do not want to live in a country of declining birth rate. If you have a declining birth rate, then they say we need more people because we have a declining birth rate. The study goes even deeper here. Why the mental health of liberal girls sank first and fastest. We are a decade into the largest epidemic of adolescent mental illness ever recorded. It's time we started treating social media like automobiles and firearms. I'm not so sure about that, but so for men who voted for Harris, being married was ranked last. But what's amazing is that women who voted for Donald Trump, being married was really low on the ladder. The top thing for women who voted for Trump is achieving financial independence, having a job or career you feel fulfilled, owning your own home, being spiritually grounded, which is okay, that's better, having enough money to do the things you want to do. Modern women, this polling shows modern women have become incredible narcissists. And that's not an accusation, it's just what the data shows. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. I could tell you on college campuses, it's 100% true. Men are worried more about duty and obligation. That's why men are going back to church. What am I supposed to do? What should I ought to do? What is the essence of my existence? Getting married and having children is a values-based decision. And women have to stop thinking about themselves all the time. Me, me, me. My body, my choice, my decision. Yes, of course you have the freedom and the agency to do that. But not only are you ending up miserable, the country is suffering because of it. This poll shows, more than the right versus left thing, that the values of American women have been corrupted. The values of American men haven't really been corrupted, actually. There's a lot of problems with men, but men want what is the best. Men want to get married. Men want to have children. Men don't just want to have, well, the most important thing is to be able to have the money to do the things I want. It's completely irrelevant. A bunch of trinkets, a bunch of trips, a bunch of selfies traveling the world. There is also the marriage effect. TheAtlantic.com writes, quote, a common narrative is that commitment and motherhood makes women unhappy. New data shows the opposite is true. We know this. We've said this forever. Instead of my body, my choice, it should be my family, my community, my church, my country. Instead of my body, my choice, it should be my kids. Your body, your choice will end up having you miserable. And we've said this forever, but now we have an abundance of data to show it. TheAtlantic.com shows that marriage makes you happier. Wow, what a concept. And whenever I go to these campuses, Charlie, I'm super happy. Why would you say I'm not happy? Screaming into the mic. And oh, I can't. This Wednesday, this thing's about to explode. Because we talk about sex norms. And, some people say, well, I could do it all. And there's a Wall Street Journal piece that shows that women can do it all. For some women, yes, but some women actually don't want it all. Married mothers are the happiest women in America. The data shows it. Married women with children, 40% happiness. No children, they're the least happy. Actually, unmarried with children are the least happy, interestingly. So you should get married and have children. And then they don't want you to own any homes. They want you to rent and be single and be happy. I'm sorry, we need to reject this entire paradigm. But this shows that young men are in a very good spot. Young men want the best stuff. If this poll showed that men were not wanting children, that would be a problem. But isn't it amazing? The women, hilariously, it's the women that get the most fulfillment once they end up having the children. They're like, wow, something's unlocked in me. Yeah, it's called the biological beauty that God built inside of you. If you look at this data right here, though, men who voted for Trump having children, 34% of the most important thing. You'd think that men are career driven. No, men would rather have kids rather than being financially independent. Something strange is happening here. Usually it's the biological clock inside of women that is going off. Now it's the biological clock inside of men. And you know what it is? It's God-given direction. Men are natural leaders, so men know that they must lead society towards having lots of children and lead women towards having lots of children. The silver lining is that if men are coming around, women will likely kind of come around. so much here. My message to the women of America: get married and have children. You will be happier and the country will be better off. See you guys tomorrow.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home. So we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, "Hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm. Please send me more." And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger, this is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work for yourself after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
Happens when the fourth turning meets fifth generation warfare.
A commentator, international social media sensation, and former Navy intelligence veteran.
This is Human Events with your host, Jack Posobiec.
Christ is king. 2 weeks ago in Minneapolis, a demonic killer shot 21 people and murdered the two precious children at a Catholic school. Can you believe that? Hard to believe. Our hearts are shattered for the families of those beautiful children. And the Trump administration will have no tolerance for terrorism or political violence, and that includes hate crimes against Christians, Jews, or anybody else. We're not going to allow it.
ICE is beefing up operations in the Windy City.
Over in Chicago, protests and outrage for their mission only grew larger over the weekend. Immigration officers swept through Chicago streets with several arrests caught on camera. President Trump says the mission is to make America's third largest city safer.
We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war.
That's common sense.
Coming out of Center City, one person in custody tonight after a woman was shot and killed. It all happened in the middle of the afternoon, right along a busy Chestnut Street. This entire crime was caught on video.
A young woman stabbed to death while riding the light rail train. New surveillance video showing the moment the woman entered the blue line and then she takes a seat. She sits down directly in front of the Carlos Brown. That's the suspect. A short time after that, Brown pulls out what appears to be a pocket knife and suddenly stabs her multiple times. She died there at the scene. Brown was arrested on the platform shortly after.
Just give my love and hope to the family of the young woman who was stabbed in Charlotte by a madman. We have to be able to handle that. If we don't handle that, we don't have a country.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard today's edition, Human Events Daily. We're here live, Washington, D.C. Today is September 8th, Anno Domini 2025. Today is the birthday of Mary, and President Trump just posted up on Truth Social, happy birthday to Mary, the Queen of Peace, and posted a very famous statue of Mary as well, a beautiful statue, a beautiful rendition of the Madonna and her son. Of course, one of the most cherished pieces of artwork, spiritually inspired artwork in the entire world. And you can see this. By the way, this is why Christian artwork is not replicable by atheists, because it was in fact handcrafted by angels. But President Trump holding an incredible morning. I got to be there with him. I was in the room at the Museum of the Bible all morning today, there as President Trump gave this incredible speech. Just unbelievable to hear this from the words of an American president there at the Museum of the Bible. Same stage, by the way, where, if you guys remember, we went to see the Narnia play, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where it's actually started a second run because it was so popular. If you're in D.C., if you're coming to D.C. while they're having the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, please go. It's amazing. It's going to be so much better than anything or whatever it is that Greta Gerwig, the anti-male Greta Gerwig, is putting out at Netflix. So please go see Narnia at the Museum of the Bible. I'm not exactly sure how long it's running, a couple more weeks. But President Trump up on that same stage today, giving a full-throated endorsement of religion in America. There is no such thing as separation of church and state. The First Amendment to our Constitution provides for the protection of the free expression of religion and the free practice of religion in our country. And we heard from witness after witness of kids, young children who were in, I believe all of them were in public schools, and they were told again and again, you can't sing that song. You can't have that prayer group. You can't give a speech where you give thanks to Jesus Christ, our King. Even a little girl, this was, and for me, I just, heartbreaking, because she was told that even during COVID, that she couldn't wear a mask that said, Jesus loves me. She was 9 years old. But they fought back. The kids fought back. The parents sided with the kids. They went and they sought action. And guess what? The United States Constitution was on their side. And now we have a president, President Trump, who's actually standing up for all of this. President Trump, whose life itself was handed to him by God when he was saved by a miracle, when he was saved by the hand of God, by the sword of St. Michael the Archangel on a field in Butler, when he went through I would say transformation, but perhaps, I don't know, maybe thinking a little bit more biblically today, maybe it was an anointing. An anointing was performed on that field of miracles in Butler, Pennsylvania. And it was great to be there. President Trump, of course, spoke. Bishop Barron was there. Got to see Bishop Barron, Cardinal Dolan, my buddy Eric Metaxas, a few other friends. And we're going to talk all about all of that as we continue the show. But President Trump also spoke very forcefully about a lot of the violence that we've seen lately, the horrific violence in Charlotte, North Carolina, a young Ukrainian refugee slaughtered to death on a train, and 2 Catholic children who were killed while attending Mass by a demonic. And President Trump used the word demonic for the killing of these children, because that's what it was, demonic. And they are child martyrs now. They are child martyrs for the Christian faith on American soil. And thank God we have a president who's standing up to do something about it and has now started not only the law and order portion, but a new initiative called America Prays, which I'm happy to say that I'm going to be a supporter of. So we'll be right back here. Lots to talk about. Human Events Daily.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing. There's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Stands in our way, and our golden age has just begun.
This is Human Events with Jack Pastoral.
Now it's time for everyone to understand what America First truly means.
Welcome to the Second American Revolution.
All right, folks, Jack Pastoral here. We are back live, Human Events Daily. We're in Washington, D.C. Folks, right now, all patriots within the sound of my voice, go to patriotmobile.com/POSO. All patriots, again, rush to patriotmobile.com/POSO. Give them a call, 972-PATRIOT. And you, right now, can get a free month of service with promo code POSO. Look, you got a lot of options for your cell phone provider. We know we do. We all do. You've seen the gimmicks. You've seen the ads. But here's what they don't tell you. Those providers are going out and giving your hard-earned dollars, your family's hard-earned dollars that you work for every day, that you strive for, that you suffer for, that you sweat for, and they're handing it, right? Because we all need cell phone providers in this day and age to interact with the economy. They're handing it over to people who hate you. They're using their ESG policies and they're handing it over to woke organizations and they're using it to fund the destruction of our country. So why not give it to people who also use that money for what? Funding the support and betterment and taking back of our country. I call it a little economic warfare. It's called We Do a Little Economic Warfare. So all patriots go to patriotmobile.com/POSO. That's patriotmobile.com/POSO. Give them a call, 972-PATRIOT. Check out all of the options they have and have the peace of mind of knowing you can see right on their site. Remember, that site is patriotmobile.com/POSO. All the things that they do to support our first responders, our Second Amendment groups, our First Amendment groups, our religious liberty groups, which we're going to be talking about in just a second here on the program. That's Patriot Mobile, and they are the only ones who are going to do it. That's why you need to go and support them. Someone else who supports religious liberty and the exercise of religion, but also the truth of religion and standing up for the truth in a way that she always stands up, because she's never going to back down, is Megan Basham. She joins us now. She's a New York Times best-selling journalist from the Daily Wire. And in fact, her book, Shepherds for Sale, is incredibly linked to everything we're going to be talking about today. Megan, how are you?
I'm good, Jack. Thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
Well, it's amazing because we had already booked you today, and we knew the president was going to be giving a speech on religious liberty. I did not, and I was in the room. I'll ask you what your thoughts were. I did not expect him to go as hard as he did this morning. He went all the way in. He went absolutely in the paint and said, America must return to Christ. And he made the argument. He linked it to crime and violence and decay in a way that, this is a very Christian understanding that society is based around this concept. And it's amazing because you're seeing it from, and he mentioned in the speech, he said, look, I'm a businessman. I don't come from your world. I don't come from the religious background. He of course grew up attending sermons with Norman Vincent Peale. I think that's been reported a number of times, and certainly has adopted a lot of his speaking aphorisms and mannerisms, but positivity. But at the same time, he's not exactly known for his religious pronouncements. Here he is saying, look, we need to bring faith back into America for America to get out of the situation we're in. It was nothing short of incredible.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing two different parts of Trump here. In the one sense, after what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, I think we have seen a transformed president here. I don't know how you can look at those events and not see Providence's hand on him. It clearly is. We know that God ordains leaders. He ordains when empires rise and fall. And, whether you like it or not, he ordained that Donald Trump would be president of the United States. And so as Trump is carrying out these policies, I think we see him seeing both sides of the coin of what needs to happen to restore to the United States to its great moral glory. So on the one hand, we need a government that does what Romans 13 tells us that the government should do, and that is terrorize the wicked for the benefit of the innocent. And for a long time, we have not seen that in our political leadership. We have seen people that wanted to terrorize the innocent by allowing the wicked to run free. And that's what we've seen. So Trump is dealing with that part of the issue. But on the other side, we also have that famous John Adams aphorism that our republic cannot function unless we have a moral, religious people. And I think that Trump clearly sees that too. He sees that we need a people who understands where their moral grounding comes from. And that comes from the Bible and it comes from Christianity. So he's openly acknowledging that. I think that's a wonderful thing. What's a little disappointing to me, and it is something that I covered in my book, Shepherds for Sale, is how little support he has gotten from some of the mainstream, really well-known pastors who you think would be celebrating this effort. But I think a lot of them did not back him in the election. And so what you have is a pastorate that is now ashamed that they did not see what so many of the rank and file in the pews saw when they went ahead and pulled that lever for Trump. And so now, they're trying to sort of subtly shift their position, but they're not talking about these issues anymore. And I think in a large part because they know that they didn't support the president. We have a lot of pastors who did support the president, but I want to be clear that, those who sit at the top of some of our most elite institutions, organizations like the National Association of Evangelicals or Christianity Today, they opposed him. And I don't see how they can help be anything but shamed when they look at the positions he's taking now.
I mean, it's truly amazing. And I remember having had this argument with so many Christians going all the way back to 2015, 2016. And I said, God often works through imperfect instruments. And if you've actually read the Bible and understood these examples, that it would say, how could I vote for a person like that? I said, what do you mean? Just read it. Read the stories that are in the Bible. Read the stories that are listed for us, the historical narrative it's again and again and again. What God does is he takes imperfect vessels and he holds them up and uses them and anoints them to, in many cases, to rule nations and to make those nations greater. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, that Donald Trump is, has the hand of God, but, in every little thing that he does or something. But when you step back and you have to say, something is at work here, something bigger and something absolutely stronger is at work. You see this in voting patterns. You see this with the president. And he's clearly a man who's now discussing faith much more openly and much more freely than he ever has before. And it obviously happened, or, made that change there in Butler, Pennsylvania last year.
Yeah, I absolutely see that. And I'll be honest, I don't see how you can read scripture and look at this presidency and not see that Proverbs tells us the heart of the king is in the Lord's hands, and he's going to direct it in any direction that he wants. And I think he has directed it in such a way in the previous administration that a lot of things were revealed that, have been disturbing. And there was a level of rot there that we have needed to address for a long time. And I think that has been providentially revealed. And I think it was providentially revealed by a unique personality, let's say, that had the fortitude to continue to fight when most of us would have given up. So, when I look at this, I just go, Lord, if you had put me in that position, I have such a personality that I don't know if I could have withstood that kind of lawfare, that kind of onslaught. And so it did take a unique personality to be able to do that. And I absolutely, as a Christian, have to believe, because scripture tells me that God ordains the times of men. So this is ordained. And, as somebody who is living in Charlotte, as we just saw this incredible, shocking, horrific crime play out, I go, thank you, Lord, that we have someone in the White House right now who is looking at what's happening in our inner cities and saying, I have been invested by God with the sword of authority, with the sword of government, and I'm going to use it for the good of the people. And that's what we see him doing in cleaning up Chicago and cleaning up Washington, D.C. And so I really hope that my own state, in the wake of this horrific murder and increasing crime rates, follows suit.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And we're coming up, got a couple of minutes till the break, but I want to get deeper into that specific story with you in the next segment. By the way, I'd love to throw on that list Philadelphia, because not only is that, I'm from that area originally, but I grew up in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, going to those schools. But, if we're doing this Super Centennial, I love that name so much better, Super Centennial next year, well, we got to clean up Philadelphia. We don't have much time. We've got, 9 months between now and July 4th, 2026. So time's a wasting, and that's great. We're doing Baltimore. That's great. And it's really every city, though. It's really every city. And we need to actually get up and say what's right. We just saw, Philadelphia, this some kind of shootout, right? And this is Center City. This is a place where, where like the nice shops are, where you would go and go out with your kids for shopping on a Sunday. And here we have, I saw this video of a guy standing over a girl and shooting her in the street. And there's some more information that's coming out that's saying she had the gun first, and then he got the gun off of her. And it's just horrific. The whole thing's crazy. We don't know what's going on here, but we know it's wrong, right? People want to say, oh, well, she had the guns. It's nuts. It's completely nuts, and our cities have gotten chaotic. And yet you talk to the DA there, our illustrious Soros DA, Larry Krasner in Philadelphia, and he'll say Trump's the problem. He'll say all this is Trump's fault.
Right. And you're seeing the same thing here in Charlotte. I don't know that we have quite the crime rate that probably Philadelphia has, but just as you said, that's a popular shopping area, that it's not known as a dangerous part of town. The exact same story for this terrible death of Irina Zarutska, the Ukrainian refugee who came here to escape a war-torn country. And it turns out she might have been safer in Ukraine. She was in an area of town that is very popular. It's got trendy boutiques, trendy shops, restaurants. My family and I go there regularly. One of my favorite restaurants is right by that train stop. So, you know, it was really astonishing to me to see that it's not just happening in areas where you go, oh, that's a dangerous area, it's unsafe, we'll just avoid it. No, it's happening in areas where everyone
broken
goes.
out everywhere. Megan, we're coming up on our break right now. I want to dig into this story, the story of Irina Zarutska. Going to be up next. Human Events Daily, Real America's Voice.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home. So we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm. Please send me more. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger, this is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work for yourself after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
You talk about influencers. These are influencers, and they're friends of mine. Jack Posobiec. Where's Jack? Jack, who's done a great job.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we're back here live, Human Events Daily. We're on with Megan Basham. She's out of Charlotte, North Carolina. She's also a journalist with the Daily Wire, and this horrific killing of Irina Zarutska, a Ukrainian refugee, young girl, young blonde girl. You know, I don't think her being Ukrainian actually had anything to do with it, other than it just adds to the tragedy that she was trying to flee a war-torn country and ends up being killed herself here in the United States, where she's supposed to be saved. And President Trump brought this up earlier today. I want to try to pull this clip. I'm going to see if the guys can get it. But in a speech that I was attending at the Museum of the Bible, he was referring to this horrific video, and he said, essentially, you have to do horrible things to stop horrible things. And as disgusting as it was, you could hear it. You could hear in his voice a father's heart, where he's got two daughters, and the resolve that we must respond with force, with military, law enforcement, whatever it is, to stop all of this. Megan, why was this person sitting behind her on this train?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And, I want to start by just highlighting some of the responses of the media and our local leadership here in North Carolina, because obviously the legacy media has had a total blockout on this story until this morning, when they finally started talking about it a little bit because of the outcry. And then you've got our Democrat governor, who after more than 2 weeks, finally acknowledged this murder after massive public shaming. And then you have our mayor, who put out her initial statement, did not mention the victim at all. In fact, she called for empathy and compassion for the perpetrator. She said, "We will never arrest our way out of issues such as homelessness and mental health. I want to be clear that I'm not villainizing those who struggle with mental health or who are unhoused. Mental health is just a disease like any other and deserves compassion like cancer or heart disease." So she is comparing this violent killer on the streets to someone with cancer or heart disease. Now, the reason that they're putting out this kind of rhetoric, and the reason that our mayor, Lai Viles, was out thanking the media who chose not to share this video, is because they don't want you to know about the policies that led to it. So immediately in the wake of George Floyd's death back in 2020, our current governor was then Attorney General. He's a Democrat, Josh Stein. He instituted a task force in racial equity in criminal justice. So kind of a mouthful. But so he instituted this racial justice task force that was supposed to reform our policing and court system. Well, here's the policies it put in place. Expanded pre-trial release, which means they wanted minority arrests to be released with little or no bail. They also wanted to decriminalize homelessness and what they called public behavior, meaning basically being a menace on the public streets. Now, this man, DeCarlos Brown, was arrested 14 times before, including for grand larceny, breaking and entering, assault with a deadly weapon. He had many arrests. So the problem here was not policing. In fact, he had 4 encounters, I think, in 2024 with this CMPD. And every time, and in this case, it was the public behavior, being homeless, creating a menace on the streets. Every time they released him to resources, they didn't jail him. His most recent arrest was in January. And in that case, he called 911 from a hospital. He was apparently freaking out at the hospital. The hospital staff didn't know how to deal with him. They called the police when he was saying there was something inside his body that was man-made and controlling him. So the police, not knowing how to handle him at that point, told him to just disperse. And instead he called 911. Well, when he went before the judge on these charges, even though he has this long history, and even though he's clearly a violent threat and been diagnosed with schizophrenia, she once again released him on pre-trial release. Now, that's really important to know because that is what this task force pushed for. These were the policies that Josh Stein's racial equity task force pushed for. And now we see the results. And, it's not just in this one case. This case is getting a lot of attention, as it should. But if you look at the statistics, homicides in Charlotte are up 25% last year. And it was the second highest year on record. The first highest was 2020 when we indulged the Black Lives Matter riots. Shootings into occupied properties are up 40% since 2020. We have all kinds of crimes like that. Our violent crime rate is skyrocketing, and it's specifically because of the policies that came out of that Black Lives Matter social justice moment where suddenly they said, well, we have to have racial equity, so we can't jail these violent offenders. Instead, we have to give them pretrial release. And that's what happened here.
And Megan, you wrote about let's connect it back to religion now, because you wrote about this, how there are so many in Shepherds for Sale, that there are many churches now or faith-based organizations that are also preaching this incredibly radical social justice.
Yeah. And, I'll tell you what's really disturbing to me is that so many of these pastors, one of the, most followed, most known pastors in the country is Stephen Furtick. He's right here in Charlotte. He was certainly someone who was prominently promoting Black Lives Matter. He frequently posted about George Floyd, did the Black Square, all of that. He has said nothing about this death in his own backyard. I could name a number of other North Carolina well-known pastors. The former president of the Southern Baptist Convention, which is the largest Protestant denomination in the United States, its president, J.D. Greer, is a pastor here in Raleigh. He also promoted Black Lives Matter. He said that evangelicals should use the slogan and support their police reforms. He has also said nothing about this death in his own state. And it's really important because these are the pastors pastors who helped legitimize these false Black Lives Matter claims that we had racial injustice in our policing and court system. And these were their support of these things helped gin up public support to back these policies that are now increasing our crime rates and making us unsafe in our city centers. So now you have a new administration that has to come in and deal with these problems.
It's sick. It's disgusting. But you know what? We've got truth on our side, and we're going to fight back. Megan Basham, you are fighting back. Tell people where they can follow you, where they can get the book.
You can find me on Twitter at Meg Basham, Instagram at journalist Megan Basham, and you can buy Shepherds for Sale, where I go into a lot of how these pastors supported Black Lives Matter and the social justice movement, really anywhere books are sold.
Megan Basham, go give her a follow, folks. Thank you so much for being here once again on Human Events Daily. We're going to get into more about the America Praise initiative with John Yep. Catholics for Catholics joins us next here on Real America's Voice, Human Events Daily.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galina. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
Right now in Ukraine, elderly Jews are trapped in unbearable poverty. If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
Where's Jack? Where's Jack? Where is he? Jack, I want to see you. Great job, Jack. Thank you. What a job you do. You know, we have an incredible thing. We're always talking about the fake news and the bad, but we have guys, and these are the guys who should be getting Pulitzers.
Jack Posobiec back live here, Human Events Daily, Washington, D.C. I want to play, I know we have a couple more clips from President Trump's speech. One specifically, he talked about what his policy is when we have horrible killings.
There are evil people. We're all people of religion, but there are evil people, and we have to confront that. I just give my love and hope to the family of the young woman who was stabbed this morning or last night in Charlotte by a madman, a lunatic. Just got up and started. It's right on the tape. Not really watchable because it's so horrible, but just viciously stabbed. She's just sitting there. So they're evil people. We have to be able to handle that. If we don't handle that, we don't have a country. You know, when you have horrible killings, you have to take horrible actions. And the actions that we take are nothing. This cashless bail started a wave in our country where a killer kills somebody and is out on the street by the afternoon. In many cases, going out and killing again. Cashless bail. And you try and reason with people like in Chicago with the governor and the mayor. You try and reason with them, and it's like you're talking to a wall. It's just doesn't. I assume it's just a political ideology. They're not stupid people. Must be an ideology that's just buried in their head, and you can't do a damn thing about it. And we'd love to go into Chicago and straighten it out. You know, Washington, D.C., you'll be happy to know, is a free and safe zone. It's so safe right now.
I mean, just sitting there and hearing President Trump talk about this confronting evil. Actually, and guys, do we actually have the clip where he talked about the Minneapolis shooting? Because I want to play that. I want to play that as well, if we have that clip.
Two weeks ago in Minneapolis, a demonic killer shot 21 people and murdered the two precious children at a Catholic school. Can you believe that? Hard to believe. And time goes by and people say, oh, I sort of remembered, but I remembered. I'll always remember it. What a horrible thing. Too many happens too much. Our hearts are shattered for the families of those beautiful children. And I've made clear that Attorney General Pam Bondi is working really hard, that we must get answers about the causes of these repeated attacks. And we're working very, very hard on that. The Trump administration will have no tolerance for terrorism or political violence, and that includes hate crimes against Christians, Jews, or anybody else. We're not going to allow it.
And one more I want to get into, President Trump talking about anti-Christian bias.
And I created the first ever Department of Justice task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias. And for those people that are a little bit naive or not well read, there is a tremendous anti-Christian bias. We don't hear about it. We don't think about it. You hear about anti-Semitic, but you don't hear about anti-Christian. Now, you have a strong anti-Christian bias, but we're ending that rapidly. I will tell you, it's a whole. We're in a much different world today than we were 1 year ago. This is like a different world.
There you go, folks. President Trump throwing down, absolutely throwing down this morning at the Museum of the Bible. He talked about the ideology, the sick ideology, the indoctrination. We call it communism, Marxism. They're sick in the head and they can't be reasoned with. That's what he said. Sometimes when you have horrible killings, you have to take horrible actions. And he talked about the shootings. He used the word demonic about Minneapolis, and he talked about the anti-Christian bias prevalent in America that goes almost completely unheard of. And I'm glad that my president walked up that mic and talked about it. John Yep, the founder of Catholics for Catholics, joins us now. He was also in the room, seated a little behind me, but I guess he's on the other side. We didn't connect there, so we're connecting here. And John, hearing the President of the United States speak about the demonic in such uncertain terms, I mean, what a sea change it's been from 1 year ago to now.
Absolutely, it has. Trump even said it himself. What a difference between last year and this year. And we're seeing it just, one to this morning was an example of that. Here you have the most powerful person in the world, President of the United States, taking time out of his day to go to the Museum of the Bible. No, not the Museum of the Quran, Museum of the Bible. That in itself is significant too. And just to go there and to have this panel looking specifically at where is the anti-Christian bias that we have seen on a pattern over these past years, specifically in our schools. So to have those representatives there and to hear Trump take questions like that, it was very important for America to watch what was said during that hearing.
Well, and I think too as well, talking about and of course J.D. Vance, the vice president, and his wife flew up to that school, Annunciation Catholic School, up there in Minneapolis, after experiencing what they experienced. But, you know, to hear the president get into these theological terms, post the image of Our Lady on her birthday, today is the Nativity of Our Lady, and, you know, really going up and saying that, and he's done this for a long, I had Dr. Taylor Marshall on the other day, and the very first time President Trump ever tweeted out one of our interviews, it was me and Dr. Taylor Marshall talking about the war on Christianity. It was 5 years ago. And here we are today talking about the exact same thing in action. And it seems to me, and John, you were instrumental in your group in putting up those billboards about St. Michael the Archangel, one of which went up right outside the fairgrounds there in Butler County, Pennsylvania. Talk to me about the importance of Butler in President Trump's, I'm just going to say it, it feels like he's been anointed.
There is a special anointing that has seemed to have gone on, right? You know, Catholics for Catholics, we were very involved in the last election, getting President Trump elected, chasing out ballots, doing the hard work. And it's only fitting now that we want to join President Trump. We're one of the official organizations joining the White House in this campaign of prayer that he has. Now, why would President Trump want to do a campaign of prayer? Because I think you're right, Jack. He, you know, when he went down on the floor of Butler in that incredible book that you wrote, he came up a different person, right? God anointed him in a special way. And I think he's very cognizant that his time is short. Even look at his comments about Ukraine. Wasn't that so interesting when he was saying the other day, look, you know, I want to stop the war. But why did he say that? He said, look, because he said it in reference to heaven. Okay. I mean, would that every world leader would make their decisions based off the fact that, yeah, you're going to die one day, and either you're going to end up in heaven or in hell. So I think, you know, Trump has this very much present in his mind, and it's great to see it. But we have to keep supporting him because it is a spiritual warfare, as we saw in Minnesota last week.
No, you know, it's funny because Politico this morning was talking about Trump's religion, and, you know, has Trump found religion? They said most of the time he only talks about religion in terms of architecture and artwork. And of course, it's the most beautiful in the world because it was designed by angels. But I texted them and I said, he just said he wants to get into heaven. I texted someone I know who works at Politico. I said, don't leave that out. You can't leave that out because something has changed since Butler in him where I think he's always had respect for religion. I think he's always had a level of reverence for religion. But something happened, and that's, John, and you and I talked about this offline, but when I wrote that book of Bulletproof and it came time to choose the cover, why did I choose the cover? Not with the fist up, but where he's down, where President Trump is down and his hands are clasped in front of him, and it almost seems as though he's in prayer. And you see that light streaming through sort of the hole, and you can actually, that's actually the shoe of the Secret Service agent cutting across, and you know, there's that video of the president talking about the book, and he's holding it up. But he actually asked me why I chose that for the cover, and instead of the other picture. And I said because Mr. President, this is the moment that allowed the next moment. This was the moment that the message was sent.
That's right. And Jack, I'm glad you brought up the whole beauty. Yes, Trump has a special knack for seeing beauty in architecture or whatever. And let's not knock that because, you know, the scholastics actually had a term for that. When a soul would find God through beauty, they called it the via pulchritudinis, the way of beauty. So that, you know, by all means, beauty does speak to Trump. And, you know, I think that has led in a powerful way to him searching out for God and realize that there's deeper meaning in life.
That's exactly right, John. We got to run. Tell people, I know you're literally on your way back to the airport, getting back to the fam. Where can people go to follow you and see everything that Catholics for Catholics is up to?
Yeah, I appreciate the Uber hit, Jack, and the car bouncing. But you can go follow us at CFORC.com. Just Google Catholics for Catholics. Also, continuing on the White House's idea for prayer, we will be doing a Catholic prayer for America in Washington, D.C. next March. So follow us there, and we hope to see you there.
I'll be there, John. I will be there. Make America pray again. Jack Posobiec, right back. Real America's Voice.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing, there's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor. 5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Jack is a great guy. He's written a fantastic book. Everybody's talking about it. Go get it. And he's been my friend right from the beginning of this whole beautiful event. And we're going to turn it around and make our country great again. Amen.
All right, Jack, so back. Human Events Daily, Washington, D.C. We just played that clip, President Trump talking about the book Bulletproof, looking at the cover that we were just showing. And I don't know if I've ever told that story before about what he said when he asked me why I chose that pic as the cover. Funny backstory, little program note for you, that video that you just saw of President Trump and myself was actually filmed by Charlie Kirk. We were all back there, and just kind of worked out that way. So appreciate that, Charlie, as always. And again, that was why we chose it. But there's a little something else. I wanted to switch gears a little bit to talk about as not just a religious guy, but I got to talk about this as a lifelong Philadelphia sports fan. And I grew up going to Phillies games at the Vet with my dad. And, you know, something that happens at those Phillies games, foul balls, and even the far more elusive and far more valuable home runs. And this video went mega viral over the weekend. I've gone viral for talking about it and coming down on it because while everybody wants to talk about the bad behavior of the Philly Karen, the Philadelphia Karen here, or the Phillies Karen, because it's actually down in Miami where this game was held, nobody seems to be talking about the bad behavior of the father. No one, other than myself, is pointing out, or at least was, pointing out that this father is actually the one who's more at fault. And here's why. People say she took the ball from the son. People say that she took the ball from the little kid. But excuse me, go look at the video. Just watch it. It's right there. You can all see it. She didn't take the ball from the kid. She didn't take the ball from the kid once. What did she do? This entitled, loud, angry Karen, she yelled, she pointed fingers, but who took the ball from the boy? It wasn't her. It was his own father. His own father on his birthday took a home run ball from his son's glove and handed it over to this shrieking harpy. Then he gave an interview. Whole family gave an interview. So we got that for you. Let's play it now.
I wasn't very happy that we had to give it to her, but we can't win. She was gonna get it anyways.
Sure. Yeah, she wasn't gonna take it, but I decided to give her the ball. I apologize to you, but it was the right thing. We just wanted her to go away.
Yeah.
And it worked out. You got a bat.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Dad, do you have any regrets giving the ball back?
Yeah, like I said, it's, that was what we were there for. We were there to get a home run ball. So I thought I had accomplished this great thing, and putting in his glove meant a lot. And she was just so adamant and loud and yelling and persistent, and I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. There was hundreds of people, just staring. And like I said, she was very, very, very close. And I'm dad of the family, so I didn't want to do something I'd regret. And that was the choice I made, is to just hand the ball back and tell her, go away.
Do I even need to say anything? Do I even need to say anything? Look at how dejected this family looks. All of them. From the father to the son to the young daughter. The body language is everything. The body language is a Greek tragedy here. You can actually see the daughter, she's looking down her nose, like the expression. She literally does the expression of looking down her nose at the father. And the son? Son's not excited. Son's not happy. I saw all these people in my, coming at me all weekend saying, oh, but he got a bat. And he mentioned there, well, you got a bat out of it, huh? You got a bat, huh? He doesn't want a participation trophy. He wants the real thing. He wants to win. I saw so many people over the weekend say, but Jack, it's just a baseball game. It's just an object. Oh my gosh. Do you really think this is about baseball? This is about the decline of American masculinity that is indelibly linked to the decline of the West. This is why our nations are in collapse, because you handed it over. You weak men with no chests handed everything over to the angry Karens, and weak men make hard times. This is exactly what it's all about. This is not about baseball. This is about knowing that it is important to win. The son didn't want to lose and get a consolation prize. He wanted to win. And he wanted to know that his father was a winner. And he wanted to respect his father. And so did the daughter. She absolutely wanted it. You look to your dad for protection. You look for your dad for strength. You look for your dad to be your rock. I'll tell you one thing. I've been to a lot of baseball games with my dad. I never seen my dad hand a ball away to someone who's screaming at him, nor would he ever, absolutely ever, give a ball away like that. It's just not done. And it's real simple. It's about winning. It's about giving something to your son. It's about teaching him that lesson. It's about being a role model and standing up for what's right in the world. That's what it's about. Never, ever submit or surrender in front of your children in a situation like this. What lesson is he teaching his son? And also, by the way, what lesson is he teaching his daughter? He's teaching his daughter that the Karen's going to win. So if you want to win, just go be a Karen. He's teaching his son that, and his son says it. That's where it's heartbreaking. He's teaching the son that winning isn't even an option. Right? Whatever happened, it used to be the part of the American spirit was failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. Winning is not an option? What do you mean winning is not an option? He says it, we can't win. She was going to get it anyway. She was going to get it anyway. And you can see his spirit crushed in that. So this is my message to all the dads out there. You got to step up. You just got to step up. When they're screaming in your face, when they're jabbing their bony little finger, wah, 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 just say no. Just say no. Sit down. As Christ said, turn the other cheek. But stand your ground. A lot of people get that wrong. Christ didn't say submit or surrender. Christ said turn the other cheek, as in don't back down. Stand your ground. Of course, Christ doesn't teach about submission. If that were true, why are there Christian martyrs, by the way, in the early church? It's full of Christian martyrs. There were so many Christian martyrs in the early church who refused to submit or cower or surrender to the Romans, right? That there were so many feast days for them that had to be turned into All Saints' Day because there were just too many martyrs, because they kept getting killed because they refused to submit. Jesus didn't teach submission. He didn't teach you to be a weakling, to be a coward, to be a soy boy. No. Stand up, say no, say, excuse me, ma'am, that ball is my son's. Today is his birthday. He's not giving it up, and we're not giving it up. So you can go back to your seat. You can sit down. Why don't you go put up a few more yard signs? I'm sure you got plenty already. Go grab a beer, whatever you want. You're not getting that ball. You're not getting it. And it's as simple as that. It's not about this one man and this one boy and this one family, but it's a teachable moment, because it is about the millions of times throughout our society where these interactions take place on a daily basis, and men submit because they say, oh, just didn't want to deal with it anymore. Just didn't want to deal with it anymore. Well, at what point are men going to step up? When your little girls are being stabbed to death for riding a train in Charlotte? Or at that point, are you going to step up and say no more? Or maybe you just say no from the very start. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, you have my permission to lay ashore.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes in as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home. So we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm. Please send me more. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger, this is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work for yourself after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.